I have a great opening question for you.
Oh, are we still...
Do you remember when we used to do those?
Yeah.
Okay, so my opening question... my opening question's not even for you. It's for the audience.
Okay, do we do the intro?
We'll do the... Well, we'll ask the question.
Right, because you like to talk first. You like to have a little riffy riff.
Oh, I thought you meant just me. I'm like, you can ask an opening question too. But my opening question to the audience is, how many of you skip the opening title sequence, and why are you wrong?
Okay, well, I'll rephrase that of how many of you correctly skip, because there's an option for that, and how many of you are wrong.
Is there a title sequence for a TV show that you will not skip?
There's not one that I won't skip, that I won't ever skip. There's some that I'll watch more often. Or there's some that, like, if I really, really like it, I'll watch it. Or if it's one of the ones where it's different in the end every time, I'll usually watch it.
Wait, what would that one be?
Like Simpsons.
Right.
Something like that.
I would skip most of that, though, until it gets to the couch gag.
Yeah, but you can't.
I mean, on Disney Plus. The Disney Plus skipping is so bad.
It sucks. But, like, a lot of times it's hard to... If it's something like that and it's like 30 seconds, it's like, I'll watch it. If it's super long,
but you always want to skip the intro to the Righteous Gemstones, and that's like all of 2 seconds. Well, that's like the shortest opening title sequence.
I'm saying if it's got something at the end, I would watch through it. But since it's not, and the option pops up the second it starts, I just immediately, I have the remote next to me. Why not skip it? Why do I need to watch it?
Wow.
It's not part of the show.
Wow. Well, we asked that because today we are talking about
the best TV shows that we enjoyed in 2021, and probably, do you have any ones that you didn't like?
I did. I was going to ask you. So first off, welcome back to the Pink Popcast.
This is our pop culture podcast where we talk about film, media, and
everything else. Did you want to take the lead on that one?
Well, I just figured I'd hop in.
Right. Okay. Cool. I'm Rizzo.
I'm Benji.
And like I said, we are talking about. So I, to make it easier on you, Benji,
okay.
I listed them from one. Like I go from the bottom to the top. How do you want to do this? Because I've got the TV shows I hated.
Okay.
I got the TV shows I didn't enjoy. That's not hated. That's just didn't enjoy.
I
had the TV shows I enjoyed. You know, they were fun.
Okay.
And then of course I had the TV shows I loved. I had 10 solid like TV shows.
Yeah,
honestly.
I have 14 that I liked that were all in my top like list, and then I have 8 that are basically question marks because they're either ones that I saw the first season and didn't see the season that came out this year, or I saw some of this season, or I just didn't really. It's not really in my favorites, so I guess that could be closer to my...
So do you want to start from the very, very bottom of the hated, or do you want to kind of...
Let's start at the very, very bottom of the hated, because I really only have one that I didn't like.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm interested. Actually, before we start that, let's start off with just a preface. There was a few shows we didn't actually catch this year. So if you're looking for us to have any thoughts on like Squid Game.
I was about to say, do you want to read through those things?
I really wish I could have watched Squid Game, but I think I mentioned I was having a panic attack, really bad panic attacks.
Existential life and death crisis, and there's a lot of death in that, so he couldn't watch it. We were planning on reacting to it. We probably
will at one point react to it.
Yeah.
I didn't get to watch Ted Lasso, which everyone's been recommending.
Everyone's talking about it. It just, the name doesn't even sound interesting.
It looks fun, but you know the problem is, the biggest problem, it's on Apple Plus. I don't have. They gave it to me free, and
I'm so mad that I had a free year of Apple TV, and I literally didn't use it at all.
That's how worthless it is.
Well, no, because I'm not gonna go that far, because they do have some stuff on there now, but it was like they were just starting to put content on there
right
when I got my new laptop. So they were like, you have a free Apple TV subscription, and I was like, what's on there?
Well, that's what I did. Like back in 2019, back before they barely had anything.
Yeah,
they're like, you have a free year, and I was like, I literally skimmed through an episode of the morning show, which isn't bad. The morning show is a good show, but I just could not bring myself to go into a full new app for one show.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I was saying, basically, because I was around the same, I think it was around the same time that I got my laptop, was 2019, early 2020. So I was just kind of like, there's nothing here, guys.
What's going on? Were there any shows that you wish you would have seen?
Okay, so I have a list of 10 shows that I wanted to see.
Okay.
I want to see Wheel of Time. It looks interesting. Like it's right in my
my
alley.
I know, honestly, and that's right up our viewers' alley too.
Shadow and Bone and Game of Thrones. So it was just the exact same show. Yeah, that's fine.
But it was like
Did you watch it?
I was forced to watch it.
But I don't want to know. So then
not a
also
girl. You don't have to be so shady all the time.
I'm
not
not
a girl
shady.
that forced
I
me to
just
watch
said
it.
I don't want to. I don't care.
Continue.
Because it's gonna be annoying either way, regardless of who it is. It's gonna be some other friend, and I'm gonna be like, "Oh, well, if I asked you to watch it, I don't think you would have."
I didn't want to watch it. I went to their house, and Daniel had it on, and he was like, "This is my house," and me, Benny, and Chris were all like, I don't really want to watch this show.
Oh, well, they all live there. I don't know why y'all didn't like.
Well, we weren't trying to be
him.
assholes. Anyway, continue.
Next, I was moderately interested at first, but I heard a lot of good reviews from friends and like friends and like people on the internet.
Okay.
Of Superman and Lois.
That's on my list.
Yeah.
Well, I'm the one who like said a lot of good things about that too to you.
Well, yeah, because I'm like, one of my friends, Jess, she was like, oh, I loved it. She had just finished watching Teen Wolf again, which I just rewatched.
Who is
Tyler Hoechlin, the Superman, is from.
He's got an interesting face.
It's very structural. It's good.
It's like he's a very unique looking Superman, and I kind of like it. Like he's got a very it makes me interested in watching the show because he's not like the typical.
He's so handsome, Rizzo.
He's handsome, but he's also not the typical he doesn't look like the typical Superman. So even that in itself was like that's an interesting cast.
Well, he's the only Superman with like a beard, right? Or with facial hair, or is he shaved in that?
I don't know.
I haven't watched it. I haven't watched it, but I was interested when I first saw it, and then I heard good things from multiple people, so I was like, okay, sure. Ginny and Georgia. We kind of held off because we thought we might do a reaction, and then we didn't, and then I never got around to it. But again, have heard good things, and I'll pretty much watch anything decent on Netflix. So
I mean, especially if you're like knocked out cold, like I was for the past 2 weeks. Like, you'll watch anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is what I did.
Home with the COVID.
That COVID.
Then Kevin Can Fuck Himself.
Yeah, that was on my list too.
Yeah.
I really wanted to watch that.
Didn't get to see that. Looks really interesting though.
I think because that was one of those shows I was like, any of the shows that I actually had to keep up with, I was like, I'll wait.
Yeah. Oh yeah, was that a weekly?
It was
one?
an AMC show, so it was like actually airing, and I was like, I don't have time for that.
Yeah, later we'll get there. I didn't get to see this. I think you just finished watching it. Only Murders in the Building.
Oh yeah, that's on my list.
Obviously, it's Slogo, so I want to see it.
That's
literally just for that.
It's a good one.
It sounds like a good.
I think you mentioned everything except I wanted to finish Reservation Dogs. I watched the first 2 episodes and I really liked it.
So that's in my list of my list. That list is a question mark list.
Right. I almost had one of those.
One that I'm just kind of like. I feel enjoy it. I just haven't fully watched it, but yeah, Reservation Dogs is in there.
Reservation Dogs was really good.
And Midnight Mass looked kind of interesting.
Yeah, it's just gonna end frustrating. I know you guys. Why am I? Oh, Mike Flanagan. Mike Flanagan, which by the way, he's a phenomenal like that whole team that made because it's the same person that did Bly Manor, Hill House,
fun.
Gerald's Game. Gerald's Game? Was it Gerald's Game?
Something.
I can't remember. So he's really good. Hush. He's really good at crafting these like really unique horror stories. But I feel I definitely just felt like I think we both surprised ourselves with how much we enjoyed Bly Manor over Hill House.
Yeah.
Hill House is technically better, I think.
It's way scarier. It's
way scarier. It's really well done, but like at the end of it, I was like, I'd rather spend time with the Hill House, the Bly Manor characters.
Hill House was sad in the end. Bly was bittersweet.
Bly
Hill
was
House
bittersweet.
Was still sad.
I liked Hannah, and I was sad for Hannah.
Honestly, I think Hannah made the whole season.
I think
if they had thrown Hannah into Hill House, I might have been all like, all right.
Last on my list of shows I didn't watch but I wanted to watch was The Shrink Next Door with Paul Rudd and Will Ferrell.
I haven't heard of that, but that sounds fun.
It looks really good. I actually honestly am excited to watch it. And yet again, another goddamn Apple Plus show that I'm just like, I just don't feel like searching you down.
There's probably enough on Apple Plus now that it might be worth a membership.
I just don't want
I don't know. Yeah, I'm like, it's still not enough. There has to be.
Are we ready?
To start? Okay, where are we starting?
Well, I have 21 in total. I will not talk in depth about all of them. But my 20, the last one is on the bottom of shows I hated.
What is it?
You ready?
Yeah.
So I want to preface, guys. Now, you should know me by now. Okay, our audience, our pop stars, they should know me.
Gosh, now see, I thought we might have agreed, but now I'm worried.
No. You aren't going to give a shit about this.
Okay.
I don't even think you watched this show.
Okay.
I'm just letting the pop stars know because I know I ruffled some feathers with the last episode.
Yeah.
I don't. I swear to you, for the 95% of the time, I go into something trying to enjoy it.
Yeah.
I truly do. I will say, I do have issues with Marvel. Mm-hmm. Not because I'm just a Marvel hater. I want to preface that. I don't just going in saying I hate Marvel. It's because it feels like a chicken and the egg. It's more that I don't like mediocre shows, and I just get more angry by Marvel shows because unlike anything else that's mediocre, and I can just go, whatever, that was mediocre, I don't care. Marvel has fans that are just like, this was the best thing ever. And I'm like, it just ruffles me more. So... And it
ruffles us when you call Marvel mediocre because it's like
I didn't say Marvel's mediocre. I say they'll do mediocre things.
That's saying it's
different.
Mediocre. That's the same.
No,
that's like
not
if
everything
I was
Marvel
like,
does.
Hey, Rizzo, everything that you do is mediocre. And you're like, I'm not mediocre. And I'm like, Rizzo, I'm not saying you're mediocre. I'm just saying everything that you put out is mediocre.
No, that'd be like if I went to a 5-star restaurant or something that says it's 5-star, but then like every other meal they're like, here's a Big Mac. I'd be like, the hell is this? Why am I paying all this money for this Big Mac? And then like, oh, but it's 5-star. I'd be like, that's a fucking Big Mac. Let's all not pretend.
Yeah, but what if it's a badass Big Mac?
Okay, well, it's not. The point is, I didn't like What If. What If is at my bottom of the list.
Yeah, I didn't really.
I hated the animation.
I didn't put it anywhere on my list because I only think I watched the last episode with y'all or something. It was like that.
It's just every issue I had with Marvel stuff when it comes to like, well, why did they do that? Well, why did they do that? Well, that doesn't make any sense. Well, why would they bring those characters? Like, it just was. The what ifs.
It was kind of random.
It felt very random. It felt very kind of limited in scope. Obviously, like Chadwick Boseman did a great performance, his last performance. Oh. But it's like, but that's the type of shit that they always like, they put on their list of like, and this is why Marvel's great. I'm like, I don't care if it was the last performance from Chadwick Boseman. Still wasn't a good show. Yeah. Like to me, even though this is at the list. To me, even though this is the bottom of my list, it's not like the worst show ever. I just found that animation just so ugly.
Yeah.
Like it was just like, I get why they did it. It blends well.
I wasn't a huge fan of the concept in general, which is why I kind of stayed away from it. I was just like, I don't really care. I'm honestly not a huge just all the in-between shows. I do enjoy them, but I'm not they don't feel necessary to me in the fact of like where the movies are like, oh, I want to see all the movies because I feel like they're all a very necessary curated story that are going to build to something. Whereas like the shows, while yes, they fit into the world and they kind of do that in-between explaining of what's going on between the movies, I personally don't find them necessary for me. Like, so I'm just kind of like, okay, if there's ones that are interesting to me, I'll watch them. But other than that, like, I don't care to watch Hawkeye or Birdman and Turtle Boy. You know, like,
Falcon and Winter Soldier?
Yeah.
Why is he Turtle Boy?
I don't know. His face looks like a turtle. He's cute, but he's like a cute turtle.
So mean. No, What If wasn't that horrible. It just was more like, it was like when you have a concept that's just so like mind-blowing, multiverses, all the possibilities, and like by the end they're like, oh, we picked all these randos and put them together.
Yeah.
It just was another smack of like, I don't know, the script said so.
Because it's like, oh, well, just because because it's like, why are these people the only people in the multiverse that can save the multiverse?
You're telling me,
well, because these are the ones we picked.
And why can someone explain to me why in a post-apocalyptic world where only 2 people are left, Jeremy Renner's animated self still has that goddamn haircut? It's just so bad.
Well, apparently Black Widow cuts hair and she only knows one style.
Well, she definitely... I don't doubt that she knows how to do her hair.
Yeah.
I think we've seen it in the movies, and Lord knows, like, I mean, she's got it changed almost every other movie.
I think it's interesting that they were still alive in a post-apocalyptic world.
So that's the last I'll talk about that.
Yeah.
Horrible, whatever. I mean, it wasn't the worst thing. Honestly, there weren't really many shows I watched because I never watched shows past... Like, I don't hate watch shows. Like, I'll watch a movie and say I hate that because it's a movie and it's only like 2 hours, and usually I don't like walking out of a theater. But TV shows, if I don't like it in the first episode, hell, the first 5 minutes, I'm just like, whatever.
I'll usually give a show, if I want to like it, if I want to like it, I'll usually watch all of it.
Yeah, but how many shows?
AKA High School Musical, the musical, the series.
Right. Oh, I guess I should have put that on our list.
That wasn't.
Yeah, the second season came out.
Okay, well,
that can be on my list.
That would be down here.
That would be at the bottom of the list.
Be at the bottom for me.
Be at the bottom of the
Sorry, pop stars.
I know people are kind of shocked.
I think that they did better in the second season. But I still just don't think they've found their sweet spot yet. I think if I'm going to say anything about it, I think that they need to find their sweet spot, because the first season was very much trying to blend Glee and High School Musical and not doing a great job at it.
Right.
And then this season was they were starting to kind of push into like their own little Disney world, where it's like a Disney version of Glee, and leaving kind of High School Musical behind and letting just the name kind of be its own thing of like, oh, well, it's
an actual
High School Musical.
High School
yeah, it's just a
musical.
High School Musical.
Yeah.
It's not. So I think if they kind of keep going in the direction they're in and just make the numbers more interesting, just do more interesting numbers, because there are, in 2 seasons, I could probably count on one, maybe 2 hands, how many songs they did that I was really like, oh, wow. Like, the point of musicals for me is when I watch them and somebody's doing a number, I want to feel like, oh, my God, I want to be a part of that. Like, that looks like so much fun.
Yeah.
You know? And so, like, if I don't feel that for most of your performances, like, it's kind of a waste for me.
Well, they're all kind of ballads.
Yeah. And it's like not like, because like you can do ballads obviously, but it's like everything they do I felt like was a ballad. And then they would do like at the end during the credits, they would do a really fun like number of people dancing, and I'm like, why was that not in the show?
Right.
Like,
right. So what's at the bottom of your list? That's not High School Musical, the musical, the series.
That was how I felt
Season
about that.
2.
I put I Know What You Did Last Summer.
I got that on my list too.
It was low.
It was so bad.
It was bad, and I wish that I remembered more specifics about it. I'm hoping they'll come back to me as we talk about it, because I figured that it was.
I don't remember much about it.
It just didn't. I remember it didn't make sense. It was kind of. It was, what was it? Excessively like convoluted. Like it was just doing too many like, and then
so much.
The reveal was stupid. Like,
and the thing about, here's the thing, twins is already one of the most overused tropes in TV.
Mm-hmm.
I will let it slide when they do like the same actor playing a twin. But we acknowledge that it's a twin. Mm-hmm. What I really can't get past is when the same actor plays a twin and then completely switches and nobody notices. Yeah. Because that's not how it works in real life. We have friends who are twins.
And you can tell the difference.
I immediately could tell the difference from a distance. I was like, oh, that's Shanae. That's not Shanice. Like, shout out to Shanice and Shanae.
Yeah.
They're awesome. They're actually, working actresses. Mm-hmm. But it's like, I only know one of them really well.
Yeah, but when because same, like I had twins that went to school with me, you know, working like middle through school through high school, and my senior year one of them joined the gymnastics team, so I got to know him really well. And I remember I thought they were so identical, and they look very similar. Like I would say now I can't really even tell them apart anymore, but like then, like I remember I was walking down the hallway once and I saw his brother and I go, oh, that guy looks like Paul, and I was like, oh, that's his brother. Yeah, but I was like, not even for a second did I think it was him. Paul,
and it's not like he's gonna throw on a different outfit and then convince you for like however many years. Like bullshit. That was just so dumb.
We know your face. Come on.
Honestly, I kind of like.
But they didn't. They at least had the dad recognize who the daughter was.
I thought the entire time the dad was having an affair with his own daughter.
It was a very weird.
When you cast like
between them.
When you cast like early 20s, but like old, good-looking people, like from like early 20s to mid 20s, but then their fathers are like mid 30s to mid 40s. You're just like, what's going on here? Are they going to have sex, or are they related? Like what's happening?
Well, that was because when they were first on screen, you were like, wait, this is her boyfriend? And then she said something, and we're like, okay, I think that's her dad.
I know.
It took us a minute to figure it out. Like we were like,
father. Still could be boyfriend.
Yeah. Damn. I wish we had, because I was like, I feel like we had so much to say when we
watched
first finished it.
That's how mediocre. It just was kind of like there.
Nothing stuck. There was nothing really amazing or earth-shattering that happened.
It got canceled, so we won't have to deal with that
surprise.
Again. One of the this is honestly the last show I hated. I really only had 3 shows I like. Actively was like, ugh.
Yeah.
9 Perfect Strangers.
I don't think that's anywhere on my list. I just left it off.
I don't think you didn't watch it.
I didn't finish it, so it's in my unfinished.
This is how much I didn't like it. I didn't finish it on the second to last episode. I had 1 episode left, and I just went, I don't care.
Yeah.
I was like, I really just and here's the thing though. Here's why it's not lower. Because I really liked the actors in it. Mm-hmm. I love Melissa McCarthy, and I actually really love what she was doing, and I love her and Bobby Cavahan. I never know how to pronounce his name, but the guy that she's paired opposite with, they were doing a great job. I actually liked Samara Weaving as like that influencer type.
Yeah.
The problem was she was in a show. Melissa McCarthy was in a show. Like Michael Shannon, who I really love, he was in his show, and his wife. I don't know her name, but their family, the ones who lost the son.
I don't think I got that far.
Well, that whole family, great actors.
But it all just seemed, none of their storylines seemed like they were
all
in the
felt
same
like
movie.
random different like different characters from different shows. They were doing. I was okay with it, but then I ended up watching White Lotus in between, and then I went to go back to Nine Perfect Strangers. And I went, nah.
No, because I remember, because I think we watched the first like 2 episodes together
of Nine Perfect,
Nine Perfect Strangers, and then we found White Lotus and started that. Or I think you found it and you were like, it's really good. And then we ended up watching the whole thing.
Yeah, we watched the whole thing.
And I was like, oh, yeah, that was really good. I don't care to watch any more of Nine Perfect Strangers. And I think you watched more of the first season and then just kind of stopped.
Yeah, I was like,
but yeah, that's funny. Because on all the top, whatever lists of 2021, I kept seeing White Lotus, and I did not. I saw Nine Perfect Strangers maybe on like 2 of the like 10 lists that I looked at.
It was it was hard because I really did enjoy. I was enjoying a lot of the performances. I just didn't care. Oh, and what's her name?
Brenda Song.
Not Brenda Song. Brenda. What?
Oh, Brenda. That's not her.
I know it's not her name.
King,
it's not Regina King. It's
Regina Hall.
Regina Hall.
Is that it? Right.
It's Regina Hall.
Okay.
She was awesome. Honestly, once again though, it felt like in a completely different show. And it's not the actors. I'm not blaming the actors. They did a phenomenal job. It's just that I don't know. Just tonally, it was all over the place. And then by the time I went back to it, I went, yeah, I don't. And I don't want to hate on Nicole Kidman.
But she was creepy in this.
Yeah, but like
and
beyond...
you already hate her because she has the stupid AMC commercial that everybody hates.
I hate that AMC commercial. Get out of here.
Go to AMC if you don't know what we're talking about.
All right, what's next for you?
I will say no to agree with that. Like I remember that was how I felt about season 2 of Scream Queens. Fucking loved the first season of Scream Queens.
Right.
And then season 2, I was watching it with my roommate. We both loved the first season. And we were watching it and we were both just like, are you liking this? And we were both just kind of like, no.
Yeah.
And then we literally just like, we looked at each other one day and we're like, I don't care to finish. And we were like, okay, yeah, we won't watch it anymore.
Right.
And months later I went back and I was like, it was literally the last episode. We were on the last episode, like the second to last episode. We only had one more. And then we both looked at each other and go, nah.
Yeah, it's just not worth it. I know anytime people are like, oh, just give it this much. I'm like, I'm not giving that show any more time. Like, no, thank you.
Doesn't get any more of my time. I'll run through my question mark list really quick.
Okay, yeah.
Things that I didn't finish. Season 3 came out this year.
Oh, did you watch season 3?
I watched, no. So my question mark list is stuff of, so in this case, it was, I watched the first half of the first season. And I got annoyed when he got the girl that he liked, but then the show was still going and he was still doing stupid things or still kind of like being creepy and crazy.
I know.
And I was like, bro, you won. The show's over. Are we not done yet? And then
Would you say that you won?
Yeah.
Continue.
I can be creepy sometimes.
No, you get it? Because I said you.
Yeah, no, I get it. Because I said you.
Continue.
Okay. That was clever. I liked that.
Okay.
It's good job. Witcher season 2. I loved the first season, just haven't seen the second season yet, but I know I will like that. I'm upset that I haven't watched Pose season 3 yet, or the final season, whatever.
It's not season 3.
I think it's 4.
Like 4 or 5.
I think it's 4. But whatever this final season is that came out, I think I'm just waiting for it to hit Netflix, maybe is why I haven't seen it yet. But I love Pose. I just haven't watched that yet. Reservation Dogs, as we said.
Okay.
That was good. Nine Perfect Strangers, as we said. Squid Games. I watched the first 2 episodes, I believe, and then I was like, let's hold off because we should react to it.
Right.
And
then I had a panic attack.
And then Loki, because obviously we saw that, but I didn't love it. I thought it was there was too much going on for me.
I have thoughts about that.
I know that I think you liked it a lot. So
I didn't. We'll talk about it when we get there. I had things I liked and disliked about it, but it's a little higher on the list.
Yeah.
Well, it's higher than this next Marvel show, which It's in shows I didn't enjoy. That's not the truth. It's really not a show I hated.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a show I enjoyed. It's not a show I didn't enjoy. It's just a show. I watched it.
It was there, and you don't ever have to think about it again.
And I feel bad because there was a lot of cool things that came out of it. But I mean, I think at this point, just don't be shocked. To me, Marvel is like
grandmother's cookies.
Wendy's.
Oh.
And I don't go to Wendy's.
I don't. I really don't.
If you like
Wendy's,
then that's great.
Mm-hmm.
I actually like McDonald's. I like In-N-Out, and I like Sonic. Those are I like Carl's Jr.
Mm-hmm.
Carl's Jr. is trash. So there's no pretense here. I like trash. I just don't like Wendy's. I can enjoy things.
My trash.
I can enjoy things at Wendy's,
mm-hmm.
but I don't go there.
I will say,
if other people are eating Wendy's, I'll eat it.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't get excited for Wendy's.
You don't get out of bed to go to Wendy's.
I don't get out of bed to go to Wendy's. I like their Frosties, but I haven't been to a Wendy's in at least 2 years. Like, it's been a while.
Same.
That's how I feel about Marvel.
I'll agree with that.
I don't hate them, but they're Wendy's.
Yeah.
And I like Sonic or In-N-Out.
There you go.
Pretty much anything other than Wendy's. So that's how I feel. Hawkeye. I just was like, oh, God, though. I did have some script issues with that goddamn show, though.
Yeah.
The one scene that me and my friend just kind of were like he enjoyed it. I enjoyed aspects of it. Oh my God. And of course I didn't look up her name. Oh,
Yelena?
No, I know her. No, it's the Echo, the girl who's playing Echo.
Echo. Oh, the one from WandaVision?
No. Oh, you really didn't watch Hawkeye. Oh, that's right, because you didn't watch Hawkeye.
That's what I said. I didn't watch Hawkeye.
I think it's Alaqua Cox. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but she's phenomenal. And yes, I will watch her show because I also love reading ASL.
Echo from Eternals.
No, that's the other deaf one.
Okay, my bad.
So there was some shining light in Hawkeye. I just it was one of those where I went, like when he does just certain things. Did you even watch it? Did you watch any of it?
I didn't watch any of it.
I'm not going to talk about it that much. There were just certain times where I was like, I get why we're doing this for the script, but like there's a moment where Jeremy Renner is literally, he's like, I need to get that suit back from a guy. And they're like, there's a bunch of cops in here and they're all playing LARP. And it's like, so you have to like actually go by the LARP rules to join this. And he's like,
why?
And he eventually they coerce him into doing it. And I'm like, all right, this is funny if this is like a teen
sitcom,
sex comedy or like a high school, like, ooh,
Disney
crazy,
show.
funny show. But I was like, this is Hawkeye. He's like, out of all of the Avengers, he's the most like jaded out of it. Like him and Black Widow, they're like, and I actually enjoyed what Jeremy Renner did in the show. But like, I get it. I get that it's Marvel. It's like cutesy, but like in real life, the guy would just be like, get the fuck out of my way. And then he would have walked right up to the guy and be like, that suit you're wearing is dangerous. Take it the fuck off. And you'd be like, I'm a cop. He's like, I'm a fucking Avenger.
Yeah.
Sorry for the language.
I trump you.
Yeah. It's like, but like, that's the type of stuff where it's like, oh, just go with the flow. I'm like,
yeah.
It's just Marvel to me is so all over the place in the logic of their world. I think that's the issue I always end up having because it has to be.
But then again, the world is all over the place in the logic of itself. So
no, there's
really,
no consistency.
You're just
like
hating the mirror
sometimes
of the world you live in.
No, like sometimes Doctor Strange is like the most powerful character, and other times he's like, oh, I don't know, I'm gonna do a slingshot. I'm gonna get outsmarted by a high schooler in spandex.
What can we say?
I'm the Sorcerer Supreme. Get out of here.
He's strange.
And yet, somehow he'll be even more powerful in his own movie.
But he's strange.
Get out of here.
You never know what to
Hawkeye.
expect from a strange man.
Alaqua Cox, she was amazing. That's
she
it.
was a standout. Yeah, you can go through your list because I'm pretty much on the good portion.
Well,
of
stop. Whoa. Well, stop when I want. You're making me lose focus. All right, so these are shows I enjoyed. These are shows I enjoyed, everyone.
Good. Okay, we're both on. How many do you have?
I've got 17. Where are you?
Okay, I have 14.
Okay,
so...
well, we'll stop at my 14th.
Cool.
Because I can just blow through these next ones. Shows I enjoyed. Shadow and Bone.
Nice.
I liked that one. That was a lot of fun.
I will say that's my 14, so we can talk about it.
Okay.
Just go ahead.
Well, it's funny because my 14 I have the same issue with on this one, which is good show. Either needed to be longer and more in depth or needed to just be a movie.
A movie, yeah.
Because I felt like it could have made a really great swashbuckling film or a more in-depth film. As it was, I'm not really a big fan of like multiple timelines, because it always just kind of feels like they're trying to make something more than they really have. I did enjoy the Crow storyline.
Yeah. But that is what it was, because that was 2 separate books, right?
Right.
They were mashing it together to make it more.
But there was just sometimes I was like, it felt like it could have benefited from either more momentum or more subtext to dive into. It needed to go one direction or the other. So for more momentum, make it a movie. Shorten it up. You don't need to have as many episodes.
Yeah.
Make it a really fun, swashbuckling adventure film. I thought the climax was great. Like, it had a good setup for like a beginning. First time that they go into the void or the shadow or whatever it's called. The fold. The fold. Oh my God, it's been a second since
It's been a minute.
So the first time they go into the fold, everything goes tits up. And then the second time they go, it's like it's a mirror of it. It was a great kind of like callback. Good, great ending. I just was like, I didn't really need to watch 10 episodes of that. That would have been like a really cool movie.
Yeah.
So
I enjoyed it, and I mean it's on both of our enjoyed list. I think I'm looking forward to the second season, because now that I understand the world, because it took
did it not take a while,
hot damn minute, and I really do appreciate y'all pop stars for explaining a lot of it, because there was a lot that I don't think I would have gotten even just watching it. But like I was like, okay, I take these little tidbits from the comments, and put them into what I'm questioning, and it's starting to all come together, and now I basically get it.
Yeah, and I will say to its credit too, it wasn't the type of show where it was like, well, if you read the book, you'd understand it. It could actually be understood while watching it.
Yeah.
We just talk a lot.
Yeah.
We just talk.
So we
a
miss
lot.
the little things that they hint at.
Right.
So it's like, okay,
but
well.
Because I usually hate shows where it's like, oh, you would only know that if you read the book. I'm like, well, I'm not here to read the book.
Yeah.
I'm here to watch the show. Show me on the show.
There was definitely a few good things that it was like you would, because they didn't say it in the show, but you could basically inference it if you really thought about it and be like, oh, this is probably why. Because there was things that were commented that I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. I didn't think about it, but probably if it had bothered me and I thought about it, that might have been the answer I came up with. So
most disappointing thing though was that you weren't interested in the Darkling.
Oh, I'm sorry, y'all. I wasn't. He's attractive. I just wasn't super thirsty for him.
And all the commenters went, fine, make me your villain.
Make me your villain.
All right.
I liked Mal though. He's hot.
Yeah. Blowing through this, Walken and the Falcon shoulder.
Walken and the Falcon. Is that what your autocorrect is?
No, I just apparently my eyes had a stroke.
You went Dr. Seuss for a second?
No, the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I enjoyed it. Again, hold on.
That was a cough. It won't be cut out.
Again, it was a show where I was like, it could have either been a little bit more in depth or, shorter. But I liked what that first episode was really good. The cliffhanger of like, great value version Captain America. That was
oh my God, that was so frustrating.
There was aspects of that show I really enjoyed where they were going, and then other times I was just kind of like,
in general, that was one of the shows that I felt was. Personally, I just wasn't that interested in either of those characters to begin with. And then the fact that it was like the whole thing was like at the end of The Last Avengers, Captain America gives him the shield and is like, you're the captain now, basically. Right. And then the whole show is just like, hey, remember how you assumed that he was going to take the shield? Well, that's not the case. He's not going to take it. We don't know if he's going to take it. And then the whole thing is like, oh, surprise, he took it. And I'm like, yeah, that's where we left off. So I was just kind of like, what? So it's like, it's good for if you were super into those characters and those storylines. I just personally wasn't. Right. So that was kind of.
And I kind of liked what they were doing with like the villains where it's like, these are people who are trying to do good. And eventually, at a certain point, they have to do something so stupid that it's like, well, they're clearly the villain, so we can root for them to stop.
To fail.
Wasn't really happy with the Sharon Carter reveal, but also, I don't care. And I can't remember what his name is, but I did like the... The Zemo... It's really hard when they take villains who are like really... evil in one film and then like make him like a comic relief in a sense.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I'm just like, the whole like dancing Zemo thing. I'm like, that's when I'm like, Marvel, your tonal consistency is all over the fucking place.
Yeah.
This was a guy who's responsible for a lot of people's deaths. who was cruel and calculated, and he was a tragic figure. And then all of a sudden he's like, oh yeah, but it's okay. I dance now. And I'm like, get the fuck out of here, Marvel. Like, that's the issues I have.
I know. Well, that was I think your whole issue with Loki too, which I'm sure that'll come up later. But
we'll talk about that. No, what was it? Isaiah. It was the basically the Black Captain America, and I cannot remember the character's name because Isaiah Bradley. So I really like that they tackled that storyline, and I thought he was a good actor. So, there was a lot of good stuff in that. Another show, Made for Love. It was on HBO.
Yeah.
We didn't finish it. I don't know why we didn't finish it.
We did finish it.
No. Not Love Life. Made for Love.
No, because I asked you. I said, didn't we not finish it? And you said, yeah. And then you described the end to me. I forget what the end was. No, you said,
did we not finish it? I was like, no, we didn't.
No, I was like, didn't we not finish this? Don't we have a few more episodes? And you were like, yeah, no, we finished it. This happened. And you told me we haven't watched it. The show.
I didn't tell you the end. I don't know the end of the show.
It's the one with what's her face, right? The mom from How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah. What's the end of the show?
I don't remember. You told me.
I don't know the end. I haven't watched it. There's like 3 or 4 episodes left, and I was like, but I enjoyed it. I just haven't brought myself back to it. It probably should have been in my.
Oh, we finished it. It was. I have it on my list a little higher, I think. Yeah. Oh no, it's right above Shadow and Bone.
So there you go.
Yeah.
That was good.
It was cool. It was very. It was. I mean, what would you say about it? It was unique. It was interesting.
I enjoyed it more than the ones I had underneath it.
Yeah.
But also, I still didn't finish it. So I'm not really sure where it falls. Like, I don't know why I haven't finished it.
Yeah.
I also didn't finish Only Murders in the Building until a few days ago. So
nice.
So it's like, we watch a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And it's hard to keep up. So sometimes it's like I enjoy something, but I still haven't like completed it.
Yeah. I also have no concept of time. So a lot of these I thought that I watched last year, not technical last year, but like actual last year.
You mean like 2020?
2020. So I was like, I don't even remember that show.
I know. It's hard going back to some of these.
Yeah.
So number 14 for me, and we can finally talk about it, is Loki.
Okay.
So yeah. Yeah. The Loki that we pick up from is literally the Loki who might as well be Osama bin Laden. Like, terrorist in New York. No time has passed.
Yeah.
Literal no time has passed. He is just, and they never really leaned into like, I correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think they ever leaned into like, the Mind Stone or the Soul Stone was like messing with him. So those were like fully his decisions.
Oh, yeah, no, they didn't really say that he was...
So everything he did in New York, like, regardless, like, I know technically you look at what happened and thousands of people should have died, but technically if you look it up, it's only been, like, confirmed 72 deaths. It's still enough deaths for me. So it's not, obviously it's not 9/11.
It's still, for me, this is a huge thing for me, is destroying the city. Like, that is so cringy to me, because I'm like, bro, who's gonna pay for that? Like, you knock down a building, that's expensive. If you throw somebody through somebody's car window, that's expensive. It's all expensive. You can't just send a whole ass machine worm through freaking Grand Central Station and just expect that to be okay, even if nobody dies. That's years of construction and history that's just destroyed. God. So I'm just like, personally, that's an issue for me. So I'm like, even if he didn't kill anybody, he's still an asshole.
I know. And the problem that I have with the show is it's like, I'm not against bad characters being redeemed, but there needs to be a consistent logic to the universe they exist in. I being raised Christian and still being spiritual, I still believe everyone can be redeemed, but I also believe in earthly justice. So it's like, I believe like someone who did something as horrendous as 9/11, actually murdering people, I still believe that they internally can be redeemed, that,
but they still
have to be withheld to earthly justice in the sense of like, I'm not going to let them walk. Like, there is a sense, and this comes up a lot even in terms of like, like racists and stuff like that, where it's like, do you think they can be redeemed? I'm like, I think a racist or someone who's like, horrible, like Nazi, all that behavior, I think they can be eternally redeemed in terms of like, they can find inner peace. They still need to face
what they did, and there's still like atonement. And
there still needs to be held up to that.
Yeah.
Marvel, and I get it, they're not dealing with like racists or Nazis, but they have no consistency in terms of how they deal with their villains.
Yeah.
Like 1 minute it's like, that's an evil person. Next minute they're like, you're gonna join me for a rowdy little adventure, little scampering around the city.
It's funny because it's like things where like Loki and the dude from Zemo can be like awful terrorists that are destroying cities and murdering people, and then the next episode or next project that they're in, they're like, oh look, I'm kind of a good guy now. But then people like Sebastian Stan being the Winter Soldier spend like their entire entire character is like, I was brainwashed into killing 6 people, and now I can never live it down, and I'll spend the rest of my life feeling guilty
Loki don't give a shit.
Loki don't give a shit, and obviously it's like a difference between like who they are as people, you know, whether they have a conscience or not, but also it's like. It's still it's still what you're writing at the end of the day. It's still like this person doesn't care, so we're just going to have fun with them. But this person would care, so they're just going to be a sad character all the time. And it's like, well, how about you make this person, if you're trying to make them good and fun, have them go through a little bit of guilt and not just like one scene where they're guilty like they did with Loki. Yeah. And then we move on.
Yeah, and it's like, because I remember when we were watching the first episode, I was like, how would you like it if they did a whole show where it was like, but what if Adolf Hitler felt sad for what he did? And it was like, well, obviously I wouldn't want to watch that. That's what my friend said. I was like, yeah, you wouldn't want to watch that because even if he can be redeemed as a person internally, we don't care.
Yeah, it's like, okay, go live your nice life where you're a better person
in
somewhere
jail.
Else. Yeah,
like in jail.
Go be better in jail. But we're not trying to watch a show about
We're not trying to sympathize.
Where you run around and save the world.
Right.
But then again, if you save the world, then maybe that's a little bit of atonement.
I'm sure some people listening are like,
no!
Loki's not Adolf Hitler, and obviously he's not. But I'm talking about the tonal consistencies in terms of like, you'd feel uncomfortable watching a show where Adolf Hitler was presented as like, kind of a misunderstood guy. Mm-hmm. Obviously, he did horrendous things, but the reason you'd feel awkward about that is because we do have kind of a consistent sense in how we treat people in terms of like, if they did something bad, a lot of times we do remember it. If we remember it, it makes us feel icky.
Yeah, and it takes a long time for a person to genuinely let something like that go or start to forgive it and move forward with who a person is, because you really have to.
When they do something really awful.
Yeah, you have to completely show somebody, because it's like a trust thing. Once a trust is broken, it takes a lot to fix that. So Loki, you broke the trust, bud.
Yeah, and it's like, and it wasn't even Loki from like later seasons. It was like, no, this is Loki straight after the terrorist attack.
Yeah. Because later on, he's done things that are more. But overall, for me, Loki,
still enjoyable.
It was enjoyable. I just personally, I wanted it to be more of a fun, like, galaxy, like, just Loki hopping around and just fucking up everybody's life and not giving a shit, and we're just like here for it, like it. But like less of making him a good guy and the hero of it, and more just making him the lovable bad guy that we just follow for a whole season. Almost like what I wanted them to do with Cruella.
Oh,
that still didn't happen. So.
I still appreciated what they did with Loki, but the first few episodes, I was like, I don't know. I think you could have leaned a little bit harder into actual empathy and not just be I watched a quick time of my life.
There's both.
And now I'm suddenly, it's okay. I'm a good guy now. It's like, okay.
I think it's the same one or the other thing, where it's like we either needed to lean into following him around being a bad guy, and then maybe in the very end, he realizes he needs to change, and then that's the arc of the second season. Or it needed to be like, we really had a lot of moments. But then again, I'm sure a lot of people think that there was a lot of atonement going on.
Yeah, and it was a good show. It also suffered from what I think, which was like, it either needed to be longer and more in depth, or it needed to be a film. Yeah. And honestly, damn, I would have loved to see Loki, like the film version in theaters.
Oh, I would have loved to see that. Yeah,
it was such an epic story, and I felt like... like the score was amazing, and like when they go to the I don't remember what they call it, but like the basically the end of time, like beyond time. Yeah, that would have been a great moment in theaters. Like it just was like, there was a lot that was so epic about it, but it was like, it wasn't long enough to be like prestige TV where it's really in depth and you're really like getting to know the ins and outs of this character, but it wasn't short enough to be to have momentum. So you had episodes like, honestly, the train episode where they're talking about like, he reveals that he's bisexual, she reveals she's bisexual. There's a lot that happens in that episode that was like, oh, that's cool. And like the tracking shot when they're running through the planet about to be destroyed, it's like, it's technically cool, but I just couldn't help but feel like, this didn't have to be a long ass episode. This could have been like two really good scenes in a really tight movie. Yeah. Or this could have been a more in-depth show. As it was, it just felt like it was in between two worlds.
Like movies are 2 hours now anyway, 2.5. Like, you could really take your time if you want to and just make it still momentum, but it's still not, what are they, 40-minute episodes, 10 of them.
Long.
I will say I was also disappointed because, like, I think my main thing along the lines of originally just being like, oh, I wanted it to be a planet hopping, world hopping, like, you know, he's just all around doing crazy shit. Where he would just, like, he was going all around, but they would always land at, like, a Walmart in Kentucky.
Yes.
Or, like, oh, we're in Missouri in a field. And
yes.
I'm like, come on,
like,
guys.
I get it. There's budgets, but also
you're Disney. There aren't budgets. Like, if you're gonna write something like this, like, know that you're gonna spend money to put him in different universes, like
really interesting, unique ones.
Save money on, like, Falcon and Winter Soldier, where you don't really have to go anywhere. You know, like, say it like Hawkeye, where it's like, okay, find some buildings somewhere and have them fight. Like, but it's like, we need CGI here. We need some really cool, fleshed out worlds that are thought about.
Oh, we're gonna go to the future. Ooh, where in the future? The Walmart of the future.
Walmart in 50 years, and nothing has changed. Like, they're like, oh, here's a few floating signs, and you're like, okay, like, I guess so.
God damn. Anyway, despite all the anger, I still really enjoyed it.
It was a fun watch.
It was actually very fun.
There was parts that annoyed me.
You can talk more about this one because actually, no, you say your next one.
Sex Ed, season 3.
Oh, that was a little higher for me, but yeah, Sex Ed. I love that.
And
we will finish it. We're so sorry, y'all. It didn't get the momentum, and most of our audience have been enjoying the films, so we will get to them. It takes a long time to edit them. Sorry, y'all.
We're just trying to figure out how we're gonna incorporate them.
So
they'll probably be bonus episodes during the week.
We're working on it, y'all. You can talk a little bit more about this. The other two.
Oh my God, that's so much higher on my list.
It's higher on your list?
Yeah.
If I would have watched it from like episode 1, I think it would have been. But like, I watched it and really enjoyed it with you. So
you should watch from episode 1 just because I'm hoping there's a lot more. Oh well, there's only because you watched most of the second season. There's only one more season, so you can easily catch up.
So there you go. So what were you gonna say?
Oh, my next one.
Say your next one.
Mayor of Easttown. I'm sure that's higher for
that's
you.
much higher for me.
Yeah. Well, just because I know I enjoyed it, but I felt like it was kind of a fluke. Like because I feel like I'm not usually into shows like that. So it's like, you tricked me. So I'm gonna put you a little lower down.
No, that's so low. What number is it?
11. It's close to the top 10. I just kind of was like,
well, of course, honestly, you'll probably.
Sex Ed should still be higher because I really do love that show. I realized when you were like, oh, well, let's add things that were just seasons. I was like, let me throw Sex Ed in here.
Yeah,
somewhere.
I know. Okay. Number 12 for me, and I'll talk a little bit about this for a quick second, but I won't spoil it for you. Only Murders in the Building. Honestly, could have been higher up, but I actually, from this point on, are all shows that I just were like, this was great.
Yeah.
This was great. This was great. Like, these were all just awesome shows. Only Murders in the Building. No spoilers. It's just a simple, charming, like, whodunit. It's fun. Mm-hmm. It's great leads. I mean, you've got Steve Martin, Martin Short, who've been working together for ages, and Selena Gomez slips in just so like effortlessly with them. It's got the same issues that you'll find with any show like this. I've started noticing a pattern where, and I was reading an article about it. But I've started noticing a pattern between this one and another show that's on my list where it's like the detective that they have like on the case is always like a short black detective, female detective. And there's a lot of shows that you'll notice like the black female detective for these like Netflix type shows where it involves kind of like clumsy white people doing clumsy white stuff, but like they have to have like a foil, but they're not like in the criminal world. So they have like some like sassy black cop who's like communicating with them and kind of like getting them into the world in some way or another. And it just kind of like it reeks of, well, it has to be a black woman because if it's anybody other color, we won't trust them because we don't trust cops in TV shows anymore. So it just reeks of kind of like a casting where they're like, the black woman.
Yeah.
Everyone will trust her.
Because you've mentioned that before where if they like people cast like cops of color when they want you to trust them.
I've just noticed if watch a show and watch a recent show, and if it's a cop of color,
it's usually somebody that
you're supposed to either trust or just not initially go blech. Like, you're so, because then if it's a white cop, it could. And I'm not saying this is, I'm just saying for television, they know their audience, and they're like,
this is the way it's been recently.
They're like, Yeah. So it's like, it just kind of smacks of like, I don't know. It's just like, it's the same character in all these shows. And there's one coming up in another show that I really liked. Mm-hmm. Did I put it higher on my list? Oh, did I not? Oops. Oh shit. I forgot to squeeze it in there. Well,
what was it?
Honorable mention. It should have been in this list. And this is the one I was talking about, but Search Party. It's the,
I haven't seen it.
It's really good. It's an addictive show. I'm only on season 4 now, which came out in 2020. Oh, I can't remember. The last season came out this year or in 2021.
So what are they looking for?
Well, a girl goes missing. I don't want to spoil anything for you. It's a really good show, but it also has a black female cop who's like on the case.
Oh.
But it's a really good show. And it's about a bunch of spoiled millennials who are way too into themselves.
That's fun. Maybe I will watch that.
I don't know if you would like it. It's interesting. Yeah. It's not really definable by a genre. And that's kind of why it's become a cult hit.
I'll watch the first few episodes. I'll give it like 3 or 4 episodes. That's usually my tester. And then if I'm not interested by then, I'll back out. If it's not something that I can just kind of watch in the background because I'm kind of interested. Yeah. And generally it's the
interesting.
I will say there's one that I watched today that I tried to start and I was like, oh, I can't do this right now. And I know it's higher on your list. So I'll mention it when it comes.
Well, yeah, honestly, Search Party should have been in my like 11 or 10, but
So, quick guess for Only Murders in the Building. Did Selena Gomez do it?
I'll never tell.
Ooh.
And then finally, number 11 for me, I think this is higher up for you.
Mm-hmm, probably.
WandaVision.
WandaVision.
And I will say this, out of all the Marvel shows that came out, this one really justified itself as being a TV show.
Absolutely. And it justified its existence.
Yeah. It was like they took the format and they perfected it with that show. It was awesome. Worked so well. It was such a joy to watch and go back. And that was the thing I felt was missing from all the other Marvel shows. They were just kind of like, they felt like, and especially with Hawkeye, it felt like I was watching a movie that was a really long movie, an unnecessarily long movie that was cut. And good TV shows, they're written with a beginning, middle, and end, and they're written like mini movies. The Marvel shows, the ones that I don't feel do that well, they just feel like a really long movie that gets cut up, and so their cliffhangers are just scenes.
Yeah.
They're not actually good cliffhangers. They're just, somebody accidentally put a cut in between this scene from this part of the movie to this part of the movie.
Yeah.
WandaVision had good cliffhangers. It was actual episodes. They like left you wanting more.
Yeah.
Whereas like with Hawkeye or even Loki and definitely Winter Soldier, I was just kind of like, all right, like that was like those were okay cliffhangers. They were fine, but they just kind of felt like.
But WandaVision was definitely building to something. It is higher on my list, so we can talk about it more if we need to. I feel like you kind of covered it, but it's higher on my list. But I agree. I think that WandaVision and Loki were the only two that really, for me, justified their existence.
Right.
Of like, I actually am like, oh yes, what the hell did happen to Loki when he disappeared? And Wanda, I'm like, what is going on with
exactly.
her?
It was interesting. It was really, and it incorporated some characters in a really unique way. I will say though, fuck the whole boner thing. Like the Quicksilver Evan Peters.
Oh, yeah.
And then Kevin Feige just like
teased the multiverse. And
maybe the multiverse, maybe not. We never said he was from the multiverse.
Kidding.
Get out of here.
And then obviously we had that banger of a song that just
snaps. My God.
We got dun, 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 dun. It was who's been messing up everything.
It was Agatha all along. Wow, that hit so hard.
It hit hard really quick because I was like, after we finished that episode, I was like, I don't know about y'all, but I need to hear that song like 20 more times.
And I even killed Sparky too. So good. And Catherine Hahn, I've been a fan of hers for a while. She's always been like showing up in stuff. Step Brothers, she's phenomenal in that. So it's really good. I love seeing these like comedians that I've been watching like in the
get to really do something that.
And then people are like, I love Catherine Hahn. I'm like, I've loved Catherine Hahn for a while. Okay?
I've always loved Catherine Hahn.
Let's calm down.
I knew her name before this.
Yeah, honestly. All right, we're in our top 10s now.
That was definitely.
Dun dun, and it only took us 54 minutes to get to our top 10.
Hey, look at that!
Look at that.
Maybe it'll be a tight 2 hours this time.
It'll be an hour and a half. I'm calling it. All right, go.
All right, so 10 for me. Generation.
Oh yeah,
I'm sure that's higher for you.
It's higher, but admirable.
So,
I honestly didn't think you would like it that much.
Yeah, so we watched it separately, right?
Yes, I watched it on my own.
Enjoyed it. I watched the first episode and was kind of iffy on how I felt about it. I appreciated that the lead of it is an effeminate black male. Like,
you're talking about Justice Smith.
What?
Justice Smith, like he's the
his name. I was like, who?
Which I didn't know, because when I looked it up, I don't think he had only just come out. Like, so he actually like recently came out.
Yeah.
Because before that, I don't think he had ever really played a character.
Anywhere
near
that. Because he was he was in Pokemon.
He was in Pokemon,
kid.
Yeah.
He was in other things. But overall, yeah, I like that he was a very like flamboyant, over-the-top character where it's like a lot of...
Competent, though.
Oh, yes. And desirable, because people did
they loved him.
He dates, like
he was
popular,
he was like the head like athlete there.
Yeah. So I'm like, because it obviously, like, we like breaking stereotypes and we like kind of getting that exposure out there, because a lot of times it's the very heteronormative, like, oh yeah, that's a funny side character, but
not the lead.
We're following the tall, attractive, straight male, straight acting gay male, you know?
Right.
So it's kind of like, it was a good thing there, and that's what made me interested to keep watching it, was to watch him lead the show, basically. And obviously it was like an ensemble of everybody. But
it was really good. I honestly really appreciated the cast.
Yeah.
I thought it was I'm mad because it got canceled too.
Yeah, but that was why it was lower on my list, not because it got canceled. Like, I don't like shows that gets canceled. No, but I still, it was a very... I don't know. It was just more of a show that I would just like sit in. It wasn't anything that I was super like, ooh, I want to watch this. Ooh, I love this character. Like, ooh, there wasn't anything that I specifically was like drawn to about it. But it was a good thing to like I'm like, I have time. I can watch another episode of Generation and kind of chill in that atmosphere for a little bit. It was still a little bit dark for me, I think, is another thing that kind of is like...
For me, it was nice because it was like, it gave me everything I wanted from Euphoria without being so depressing.
It's not depressing, but it was still a little bit of a...
Heavier.
It's still a little heavier than I usually like. So it's kind of... I was like, okay, like I will watch a season 2 of it, but I'm not anticipating. I'm not like waiting. Well, I guess there's not going to be a season 2.
There's not going to be a season 2. We'll never know. But I appreciate it. It had a lot of good young actors who felt really real. It was so... A little bit of tea. I mean, it was produced by what's her name of Girls fame, Lena Dunham, but it was created by a father and daughter team, Zelda and Daniel Barnes. And Zelda was like 17 when she helped write it. The only tea I heard is that there's a possibility that could have been more of a publicity stunt and that she wasn't as involved with the writing. But I will say...
I believe that, because there were some things that they would say and do where I'm like, is that just what a 40-year-old thinks that millennials and Gen Zs talk like?
I don't know, because I'm not a kid anymore.
That was also part of a little bit of annoyance with the show, where I was like, who wrote that? Like, who wrote that line?
It was... I felt like it got as close as I think it should be, but then again, if you're a real Gen Zer, if you're a real a real Gen Zer, what's after Gen Z?
Oblivion. The world is going to shit.
Okay. If you are of the age that generation was depicting, let us know in the comments, because I genuinely want to know what do you do? How do you talk? Who are you? Anyway. Okay, yeah, that's good. All right.
That was fine.
Number 10 for me, this is more of the second season of a show, but it's a show that I love. It's I Think You Should Leave.
Yeah.
And it's one of my all-time favorite sketch shows. It grew on me. Did not like the second season as much as the first season when we first watched it.
Yeah.
But we kept quoting it, man.
I know. I will say it's one of those random and ridiculous shows that I never would have watched it or liked it if we hadn't have watched it together.
Right.
And it made it a positive experience. It like had that like positive association.
I should have got that.
And then on top of that, us quoting it all the time, where I was like, okay, this is significant now to me.
I'm gonna eat that.
You sure about that?
You sure about that's not why?
Anyways, for the people who haven't seen it, that's
Oh, yeah, that's a real piece of shit right there.
probably really annoying for y'all who haven't seen it. But
my tables!
It's just a fun, it's a fun sketch comedy show. So if you have some time, just throw it on.
No sloppy
you will
steaks.
find
No
yourself
sloppy
quoting it.
steaks.
Like, it's a facepalm show. It's definitely like you're
so
watching
awkward.
it and you're laughing. You're just like, what is happening?
I
But
want to
it's-
say one fun thing. You pop stars are going to get a kick out of this. But my dad does background work out here in Los Angeles, and he is heavily featured in the I Think You Should Leave season 2 sketch. The courtroom hat sketch.
Yeah, and it's what the last.
This might be the only thing I edit in this episode, but here might be a clip.
Or
That's my dad. That's him right there. He's the angry looking one.
Yeah.
My dad wouldn't say it. I tried showing my dad, and this was so funny. This is the last thing I'll say about this. My dad hates shows like that.
Yeah.
He hates that type
I'm
of
not
humor.
surprised at all.
And when he called me, he was like, "Oh, I'm doing this show tomorrow." I was like, "Oh, what is it?" He's like, "Oh, it's I Think You Should Leave." I busted out laughing. I was like, "Oh, good luck on that one, Dad." And I called him the day after. I was like, "So how was your day on I Think You Should Leave?" He was like, what was that about? And I was like, oh, I'll never tell.
Oh my god.
And I tried showing him the sketch, and I showed it to him on Thanksgiving, and he was just watching it like,
grumble.
this isn't funny at all. He's like, you find this funny? And I was like, absolutely.
Yeah.
Hilarious. All right,
You're his Gen Z. He doesn't understand you.
I don't get this.
I don't understand.
All right, that was my number 10. What's number 9?
Number 10. Number 9 for me is a show called It's a Sin. So it's it is a gay show about basically a group of kids in the 80s and like the height of the AIDS pandemic, basically just getting through that and like coming to terms with who they are and their sexuality. Young adults, not kids. But it's obviously a heavier show because it's dealing with something very serious, but they balance it really well with the fact that it kind of shows the positivity of them finding each other and finding their kind of chosen family.
Wow.
And showing like the kind of the good that they find in the situations. And just really it's still a very positive thing, even though it obviously
It's British.
there are sad moments and there's bad shit that happens, but overall you can still it's like real life where it's like shit can be going bad and there could be terrible things happening, but you can still have good times in it.
Okay.
So
I like that. That actually, I'd want to watch that.
yeah. So that was
British.
fun.
I trust British shows.
Yeah, and it's very British. So I was like, I started
surprised.
it, I was just like, it's gay. I'll watch it. So I was like, I was like, yeah, I'm out of gay shows right now. And then I was like, this is okay. Like I feel it. Okay, y'all. And then I was like, oh no, you guys, please don't make me cry.
No. Number 9 for me. This might be higher up for you.
Oh, what is it?
I don't know.
I feel like we might agree on our top.
We might. Invincible.
Oh, it's a little higher.
It's a little higher. Bro,
You're
can we talk about it
just-
now?
Yeah, let's go ahead and
What
talk
the
about it.
fuck? That show is
That was crazy. So, Invincible is a cartoon superhero show, but it's really freaking.
So it's the guy who wrote it, Mark Miller. He's the one who did the original comic for Kick-Ass. He's the one who did the original comic for Wanted.
That makes sense.
There's another one that I'm completely blanking on, but just as violent, just as foul. And it's just, oh God.
It's violent and it is very realistic.
Wait, I might be crazy. Invincible. I'm pretty sure it's
Invincible.
Mark Miller. I might have completely created by Robert Kirkman. No. Oh my God. I
almost said that.
No, I mean, it's in there now. You guys can hear how stupid I am. No, sorry, Robert Kirkman, comic nerd. Just, you know what? I'm wrong. I got my violent shows.
We're not perfect.
They're
Nobody's
judging me.
perfect.
They're
They're
judging
not
me.
judging you. They love
It's
you.
in the same vein. It was made around the same.
Anybody who's here at an hour and 3 or wherever we're at now it does not hate you.
Look,
so
it was a very violent show, to say the least.
It
It's
was
like those aforementioned comics.
Incredibly violent, but realistic. Like
So
it was
sad.
just like people were dying left and right, and it was oh my gosh, there were so many scenes that were just really, especially towards the end, that were just really hard to watch.
So here's the thing, pop stars. There's a lot of times too when we watch shows. I don't know how these other reaction channels are always like first time this, first time that, because Lord Almighty, I've been watching shows since I came out the womb.
Yeah.
I love TV, film. I'm just constantly watching things. And a lot of times I want to watch it and I don't want to have a camera on me. So there's shows that we just consume for ourselves. I wish we could have filmed ourselves.
Yeah, that one was insane. Like I don't think anybody was really reacting to it, right?
I don't think we knew what we were getting into with it.
Not at all. Because what was the first thing that happened that we both were
Omni-Man, spoilers, but Omni-Man fucking he destroys.
Our main Superman type, good guy, Boy Scout superhero that we think is like, oh, that's Superman. We just assume that he's
violently
a good guy.
destroys the Justice League 2.0.
Kills them. Very, very violent scene. And you're just like, what am I in for?
I had an inkling because I'd been seeing the Omni-Man memes everywhere. The think, Mark, think. I've been seeing those. So I was like, I think he's a bad guy. So I wasn't as shocked, but bro, your face was just like...
I was blown away. I was like, what?
And I basically had to consume that show within like a few days.
It went down real quick. Because it was like, as much as it was violent, both Omni-Man and his son were hot.
You know who did the voice of...
I was there for it.
He did his voice, right? Invincible?
I feel like I know who it is. Who is it?
It's Glenn from The Walking Dead.
Oh, right.
Stephen
yeah.
Young.
Because they are kind of... he's half Asian.
Yeah.
And Omni-Man, it's like an
J.K.
alien, but
Simmons
he still looks very...
terrifying.
Yeah.
J.K. Simmons was terrifying as Omni-Man. Great cast.
Okay,
have
you seen J.K. Simmons is buff? Or whatever.
Yeah, I've seen him. Like, my God.
And like, I told you, I was like, because we just say something about an older guy, and I was like, you could be older and still be in shape. There it is.
There you go.
I'm right.
All right, that was number 9 for me. What's number 8 for you?
Number 8 for me is I Think You Should Leave. So.
Oh, you had it higher.
Yeah. Well, that's what I said. I was like, it was a little bit higher for me. Surprise, surprise. But I think I've seen less shows than you. So.
That's true.
Yeah.
True. All right.
I also didn't want to insult you by putting your show really low.
I don't care.
You care. It's fine. You can care.
I don't even know what your show is. I'm actually kind of trying to figure out what.
I feel like
mine's not. It's not the same, but it's only because you didn't watch the show.
I knew that show was going to take the lead, and I hoped it wouldn't because I wanted us to agree on the top one. All right. 7 for me though is Invincible.
Yeah,
so
we're more or less
around the same.
We were more or less. Yeah, 8 for me is Sex Education, so I had it higher up, and then 7 for me was Generation. So
honestly, 7, 8. I should have probably switched Sex Ed, and I Think You Should Leave.
Yeah,
realistically,
it's fine. You know what?
But that's fine. So where are we?
So I'm at 7. My 7 was Generation. What's your number 6?
My number 6 is Sex Life.
Oh,
which was a show that we discovered. Did both seasons come out this year?
Sex Life or Love Life?
Oh.
Or Sex Lives of College Girls.
Wait, what is Sex Life?
Love Life is the one with Anna Kendrick.
That's what I'm thinking of. What is Sex Life?
There is no Sex Life.
Sex Life came up on my...
Sex Life, maybe.
What is Love Life? Wait.
Love Life is the one with Anna Kendrick.
Love Life is the one that I liked. Well, either way, that's the place that it's taken.
Oh, there is a show called Sex Life. We didn't watch that.
We did not watch
that. It did come out in 2021, though.
Yeah, because it said there was like 2 seasons in 2021. Well, I didn't watch that. Sorry, pop stars. I watched Love Life, which did that come out this season?
The second season came out in 2021.
Okay,
and the first season came out in 2020. So it counts.
That was one that I discovered in like this random like kind of rabbit hole of shows that I put together.
Yeah.
That HBO lined up for me because HBO is flawless, and I hope one day that they'll sponsor us somehow.
My top 5 are all HBO Max shows.
HBO is amazing. Like, I don't get it yet because we need our numbers to be good when they inevitably hopefully sponsor us someday. We need people to actually subscribe then. So maybe don't do it now, but God, get HBO Max.
It's so good. Because Love Life is a little higher for me, but the second season, which one did you like better? You probably like the first season more, right?
I think I liked the first season a little bit more.
I thought I liked the first season more at first, but as the second season was wrapping up, I found myself more invested in his story.
Absolutely. I will agree with that. I think probably just because I like Anna Kendrick technically more
Yeah,
than I
think
like him.
she has a lot of goodwill.
Yeah, that I very much was like, it was a lot of fun for me to watch. And she's like one of the producers of the show, right?
Is.
So I had a lot of fun watching her season.
Well, fuck that one guy.
His love story was it was more compelling, but also he was a more shitty person. Like it was hard. I hated him through most of it, through a lot of it. I was just kind of like, God, you're the worst.
But it was good watching him actually grow.
And actually learn.
I felt like that because it was very two different things. It was like the first season was more about, and that's why they kind of ended very differently. The first season was more about just being in love with yourself. And the second one was more about being compatible for somebody else. And so it's like, so you had a different type of journey than she had. She just needed to be okay with her. So it's like the last episode didn't need to end with a big like, oh, this is the person I ended up marrying. It was more like, I'm fine with me. Like, I love me now.
And then somebody just needs to supplement that.
Right. But for his case,
he really needed to find compatibility because it was all about the right person and the wrong timing. Not to ruin it, but
oh, spoiler alert! All right, so that was what was that number for you?
6. And
6.
Love life. I'm glad that you corrected that.
There you go. Now we both made mistakes. Look at us.
Look at us. Bunch of dumb boys.
A bunch of dumb boys. All right, number 6 for me. This is probably higher for you, and it would have been higher for me, but I was honestly surprised by the show completely.
Oh.
Q-Force.
Oh, it's a little bit higher for me.
Is it?
Yeah.
You want to talk about it then, or do you want to talk about it now?
Let's move past
it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So what's number? That's number 6 for me. So what's
number 5 for me was White Lotus.
Oh, that's my high. Okay, so maybe let's just. You want to like count them down and just talk about.
Let's go. Because
White Lotus is like
we're at the top 5. Did you already? Where are you? Where's White Lotus?
I mean, at this point, White Lotus is higher up for me.
Okay, so let's hit them when they hit their peak.
Okay, when they hit their peak.
When they're at their peak.
Okay, so then Love Life was number 5 for me.
Love Life was 5 for you. Okay, so 4 for me is Q-Force. So we'll hit it now.
Okay, let's do Q. Let's talk about Q-Force now. Wholesome.
So fun.
What a wholesome, funny, like.
Yes, absolutely. I was very surprised that you enjoyed it because I'm so hesitant recommending gay content to anyone, especially a straight man.
And you kept checking, like you were like checking up on me every 5 minutes.
I was like, do you want to stop? We can turn it off. I was like, no, I have to watch it.
Because like when I first was watching it, I think, was I like depressed about something? I probably was. It was
it was during your whole thing.
So I wasn't like super enthusiastic at the beginning. So it wasn't like, oh my God, let's keep watching. It was like, yeah, let's keep watching. And you're like, and okay.
you were like laughing at things. And like, I could tell you like you were enjoying it, but I also didn't want it because I sat down and watched the whole season. Well, no, I watched the first few episodes, but then I knew that I could watch the whole thing all in one sitting.
Right.
And I know you do that for things you like, but I also didn't want to be like, I want to watch it and keep watching it, and then you feel guilty because you don't want to make the gay guy turn off the gay show and then feel like you're homophobic, and then you didn't want to say anything, but then you're slowly getting annoyed with the show. So I was just kind of like, I kept being like, we can turn it off at this episode. We can turn it off now. So I just wanted to keep checking in.
I'm not going to watch Will and Grace.
Really?
I don't.
It's fun.
It's
well,
fine.
you don't like toxic codependency, so you wouldn't watch that.
No, I wouldn't.
That makes sense. But yeah, no.
What are other gay
overall,
shows?
I know that I'm very much just any like good gay content. Bad gay content I will watch just cause, so I don't ever like when people are like, oh, was that a good show? I'm like, it was gay. It was gay. It was good for me. I enjoyed it. I don't think I would recommend it to anybody because I don't technically know if it was actually good or if I just watched it. So that's why I'm always like, I watched the first 2 or 3 episodes of Q-Force and you were like, oh, I was thinking about watching it. Was it good? And I was like, I watched it. That's all I can say.
I liked it. I thought the voice acting was funny.
Sean Hayes is great.
I've actually worked with the guy who plays Twink, Matt Rogers.
Funny.
And it took me a second. Like when I looked him up, I was like, oh shit, I know that guy. Like I've actually worked with him before. He was hilarious. Like, what's the line that we kept quoting?
Get away, homos! Give it some space.
Get away, homo!
When he was pretending to be Ariana Grande.
Wait, what happened?
Like, my brother is gay just like you. There was a fight. So it was set in West Hollywood where
we don't live near. We live closer to West Hollywood than you do.
West Hollywood to have, maybe not. We live close enough to West Hollywood to have been there enough to recognize the places they were talking about, which was actually really fun and cool.
That was fun.
But they were definitely like they had a fight at one of the very popular clubs, the Abbey, and like they were distracting all the gay men out front with a fake Ariana Grande impersonator.
Oh my God.
But one of the guys was just standing in there watching the two guys fight, and he was like, "Yes, hit him!" It was so funny.
And you said if that's not the most Abby thing to happen,
like it's just
my
a drunk
God.
gay man, like, "Yes, hit him!"
It was, and I normally don't like those animated comedies. Like honestly, it's very, very selective for me. Like the most, like I like Bob's Burgers, which I wouldn't even really call like an adult cartoon.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I can't even think of like any other adult cartoon off the top of my head. But I'm not usually
like,
into them.
Obviously, like Family Guy,
like Rick and Morty, I guess.
Dad,
I don't really watch American Dad or Family Guy.
Bunch now. Like I think it was Hulu or Netflix that I was scrolling through, and it was like adult cartoons.
Yeah, I don't like most
and it's
of
a
them.
whole category now. Like in the last year, I think 6 of them have come out.
And they're never usually good to me. So it's like at first when I saw it, I was like, oh, cool, another Flash animated.
It's all the same now. Like,
yeah.
Especially the ones like I forget. I don't think it's called Off Leash. It's the one about the dogs.
Oh yeah, I was gonna put that in my notes of like, why the fuck are we still
about the dogs
making shows like this?
Yeah, there's the one, The Prince, about the royal family, where I did watch a little bit of that. Like I've watched a little bit of each of them, but they're all just they all kind of blend together.
The humor is the same.
Yeah,
it's the same like famous voice actors instead of actually good actors. It's just like they're just like, okay, sure, whatever.
Yeah, I'll stick with my Family Guy, my American Dad, because
I guess I could have put Rick and Morty on this year too, because that technically came out. That was fun. That was fun while high. I watched a few of those episodes while high. Yeah, another honorable mention that I forgot to put on the list. Rick and Morty. That was good.
It was there. But yeah, Q-Force.
But Q-Force, I was like, okay, this is going to be another one of those shows. So I was surprised when I was like, oh, this is actually like, I think it's because I like wholesome content.
Yeah.
And for all the jokes and all the sex stuff, it was like, it still was just like, they were just a family.
Yeah.
They just want to be together. They just want to be doing good stuff. And I like this time for gay content because it's like it doesn't have to all be we're dying from AIDS.
Yeah, no, we're getting into the point where we can make content that doesn't have to make people cry,
right?
And we can kind of own our own stuff, and we have access to actually making good stuff because there's a lot of like early 2000s stuff that is like good and it's cute, but it's clearly just very low budget, very like made for TV, but not even made for TV, kind of like instant to DVD release type stuff. So now it's like, oh, there's so many platforms where you can actually make really good stuff that people can enjoy that's on par with everything else that's out there.
Yep.
So that's fun now.
All right.
And if you watch it, just a heads up, there's some cartoon penises.
Oh, was it? Oh, yeah, there was. What number are we on? 4?
Yeah, because I just did Q-Force, which was 4 for me. So
okay, so I should do 4.
Yeah,
I think it's higher for you.
Wait, no, not 4. Oh wait, you did Love Life. Yeah, 4. What's your 4?
My number 4 is Sex Lives of College Girls.
Oh, okay.
But it's good.
It's great. It's fantastic,
bro. Like I had like 2 people recommend it to me, and I was like, I think I might watch that tonight. And then I got home, and you came over, and you're like, hey, do you want to watch this show?
Yeah, because I was so hesitant because, again, it's one of those things where I was like, this is personally something I watch. And I know that this is absolutely my kind of content.
Yeah.
So I'm hesitant to recommend it to you because it might not be. Because stuff like that, I feel like is a lot of times a hit or miss for you.
Yeah,
so
it very much is.
Yeah, so I was like, I didn't know it well enough because I'd only just watched it literally the night before. I started it and watched it till 2 a.m.
Right.
when I had work the next day. So
oh my God, we did the same thing. You went to work, you came over, and then we watched all the released episodes until the early morning.
I was annoyed. I was like, literally, I just did this last night because I kind of was still passively saying it because you're like, well, is there anything you're watching? And I was like, honestly, because once I finished it, I was like, that was really good, and I wish I could forget it and watch it again.
Right.
And then you said it, and I was like, I just found this show, and like, I don't know if you would want to watch it, but maybe we could watch the first episode. And I said, Sex Lives of College Girls, and you were like, oh my God, everybody's been telling me about that. Like, let's watch it right now. And I was like, okay. And then we watched the whole thing until 2 a.m. again, and again, I had to go to work the next day.
And again, I had to go to work. We both had to go to work.
Why did we do this?
I literally got to bed at like 3 or 4, and I like get to set, and the girl who recommended it to me, I was like, I watched it. She's like, oh, and I was like, yeah, I watched all of it. I watched the whole show.
I watched it all last night.
Which honestly, that and Generation got both shows were recommended to me by the
same person,
the writer's assistant, like the showrunner's assistant. Is
of
it different
each show or of the show you were on?
The show. It's a long story, but we've had multiple showrunners assistants, and they both have recommended to me a show that I've ended up showing up the next day, being like, I watched it all.
But they're both shows you were on.
Yes, both shows I was on.
Yeah, that's fun. And and then a week later, I watched all of it with your sister. So
you've watched it 3 times.
3 times.
Oh my god! Well, it's created by Mindy Kaling and Justin Noble.
That was my selling point right there.
I know.
I love Mindy Kaling. I delivered Postmates to her once, and she in the 8-second interaction we had, I can tell that she's the exact person that she portrays.
Right.
I was just like, and as soon as I saw that, I was like, I'm watching this.
Well, you can also tell it. Like, I didn't know. I could tell it was her just by the character of Bella, who let's see, Umrith. I think that's how you say her name. But yeah, she's very much the same, like a grown-up version of the character from Never Have I Ever. Which that second season came out this year, but I didn't enjoy it as much as the first season.
Yeah.
But,
well, they did the same thing that all of the Netflix seconds do for some reason, whereas like we get a girl who's like gets this impossibly hot guy, like the number one hottest guy.
This is for Never Have I Ever.
For Never Have I Ever, but it's for everything.
Right.
Like it's Kissing Booth. It's what's it called? Never Been Kissed. To All the Boys.
Oh, To All the Boys. Yeah.
And then the next season, they're like, "Oh my gosh, like, are we gonna get together? I don't know. I love them. That they don't notice me, but then we get together somehow. It's amazing. Oh my gosh, they're the one for me." And then the next season, this random other impossibly hot guy shows up and is like, I want you. And then they're like, oh, well, who do I want now? And it's like
the first one. The first one.
Dude, like, come on. Like, so
I know.
At this point, it was the third, maybe more if there's another.
I think that's
that
why
does it. But I was just kind of like, y'all have done this stuff. And it's not even that I've seen this so many times. It's like, y'all did this twice already on your platform with 2 big shows that y'all have.
Right.
And I just watched it because it just happened like last year or the year before. So I was just kind of like, eh.
But it's basically the same character, and she's hilarious, and it's clearly like Mindy Kaling, like, you know,
and Mindy obviously in the Mindy Project is the same as that character, but I love
no, and it's not, it's good, it works.
I love her.
I think the ensemble worked very well. I was surprised that was Timothée Chalamet's sister, Pauline Chalamet. She's really good in the show. Like I'm hoping carving a career for herself, because like it was a great show. Like I can't wait for season 2. That is one that I absolutely keep. Every time I pass it, I want to stop and watch it again when I'm like looking through HBO Max. Again, this is HBO Max, by the way. This is why I love HBO Max, because we're not sponsored by them.
No,
we should be.
One day, like I really will. I am so excited to reach out to them one day and be like, look, do we have enough engagement for you to sponsor us? Because it's like, I almost don't even want to get paid. I just want to be in association with them. Like
just the official,
I do want to be paid. Yeah, sure. They tell people about us, we'll give you 50 bucks. Look, they like us too. But no, it was that. And then it recommended, after I finished that, it recommended Love Life. And then after Love Life, it recommended Looking, which that's another gay content show where I'd be like, I wouldn't recommend it to you because hell if I know if you'll like it. I just liked it because it was
Jonathan
gay.
Groff is in that.
Jonathan Groff. Jesse St. James is in it. So
I know that name.
You do. You knew it before I did because I was calling him Jesse St. James. And the only reason I know his name is because you've said Jonathan Groff many times. But yeah, great show.
I'm an ally.
Is that funny?
That's my allyship, is I just know gay actors' names.
Right.
And I give it to people who don't know them.
Yeah.
Hey.
Gay people. It's
I
like,
know you only know their Glee name.
I don't need
but
to
here's
know.
their real name.
Thank you. You're such an
I'm
ally.
a great ally.
How about find me a boyfriend?
No.
No.
So that's number 4. What's number 3 for you? Pick number 3, my lord.
Hold on. Is there anything specific we can say about Sex Lives of College Girls? Because we kind of just said it was cool and we liked it. I feel like it's 4 girls in their freshman year, gaining their independence and dealing with sex and love. Obviously, I feel like that's pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah. But
it was very funny.
I think it was just done well.
It was done beautifully. The relationship between the girls, the way they interacted, the way it was very. They were all very different. They were all cast very well. but like they were all, you could tell that you just felt like each character was so solid.
Yeah, it didn't do anything like groundbreaking. It's all stuff you've seen before. But
I've never seen this before.
It just was just like so easily digestible and so like I want to watch the next one.
It was candy, like it was popcorn.
Yeah,
like it was once you finish one, you just keep going.
Yeah,
like until it's empty, you just won't stop.
I wanted to see Kimberly, get with the hot guy, and then when it turned out that he had a spoiler alert, a girlfriend.
Oh,
whoa!
Don't ruin it.
I said spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. That's why I said spoiler alert.
I know, but what are they supposed to do? Just throw their fucking phone on the ground?
Get the fuck out of here!
No! Like they don't have time. You barely said it right before you spoiled it.
And then what happened in Titanic? Spoiler alert: Jack died.
But yeah, I mean, spoiler alert on this whole episode. Where are we?
Number 3, my lord.
3, my lord. 3 for me was the other 2.
Oh, there we go.
I love that show, and I knew that I would as soon as I saw the little like 30-second teaser.
Uh-huh.
So it's a show about a kid who blows up on the internet and is basically Justin Bieber, because Justin Bieber blew up on the internet, had an album, and became like multi-million platinum selling whatever the hell. That's what happened to this kid, and he's a super popular like 15-year-old. And the show is about his other 2 older siblings who just don't have their lives together. And they're just like, nobody knows who they are. Nobody cares about them. And meanwhile, their brother is the most important person in Hollywood.
Yeah.
And it's just such a funny, like, juxtaposition.
Yeah.
Something like that. But it's hilarious. And the way that they interact with each other, where it's like, they love their brother, but also it's just like, he's got everything.
I know. And Molly Shannon is awesome.
Molly Shannon is their mom. Like, oh
she's
my
just perfect.
goodness. It's so funny.
And I was watching it with you kind of just, I wasn't even watching it with it.
Yeah.
You were watching it. I was over.
I was glad you were there, because it's one of the ones where I was like, I want him to watch this, but I also don't want to like push this on him. But that was one that I figured you would like.
So the first few episodes I watched weren't capturing. Mm-hmm. What was the one? It was the one where he becomes a gay icon. And then that actor is like stringing him along as maybe I'm dating him, maybe I'm not dating him, and he dresses him up.
Yeah.
And that, I don't know why that episode I went, this is the funniest shit ever. Like, because he's like, is he a gay actor or is he just doing it for clout? Like,
yeah, because he was like starring in a gay movie, but he was like straight, but then he came out as like pan before the movie came out. And they're like, is this for publicity? Why can I not talk to
I don't know. But that episode, I was like, that was some funny commentary.
That's funny. And then the next, I think the episode like right after you left that day, or did you? I
watched all of them with you.
Yeah, I was like, I think you finished the season out, so it might have been the one before that where they join a Hollywood church, and it's celebrity church where they're like all getting baptized, and it's like, oh well, now we have these connections and like blah blah blah, and just like the commentary and like they were getting baptized at like a pool in the W Hotel on like a rooftop.
Maybe you didn't see that one.
Yeah, no, you didn't see that one, because I remember thinking that you would think that was really funny, but
funny.
You weren't there for that one. But like their pastor was like ripped and like yeah, like he had like sunglasses, like oh yeah, like we're baptizing you, and like
it's a lot of inside baseball where it's like it's funny if you understand it.
I think
mileage may vary.
I think it's funny regardless, because it's like if you're not in the industry, it's just a funny, ridiculous, like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. But if you're in the industry, you're like, yeah, that's crazy. Like, why is this a thing?
That's a good one. That was number 3 for you?
Yeah.
All right. Number 3 for me. Have you mentioned this one yet?
Maybe not.
Maybe it's lower for number 3 for me is The White Lotus.
Yeah, I said White Lotus. White Lotus was 5 for me.
Oh, 5.
Yeah. And then we were saying we're going to hit it at the
right. First off, I just want to say right off the bat, Sydney Sweeney, the teenage daughter, the college daughter, terrifying.
I still don't know whether I like her or
she
hate
is
her.
The worst.
I hate her.
She is everything I'm afraid of when it comes to Gen Z.
I'm like, I guess her acting was great. I hope that was acting. But I was like, I couldn't tell if they wanted us to like her or hate her. Like that was because I hated her, but I couldn't tell if they wanted us to like her or
I
hate
could not
her.
tell. Well, the whole show is very, and I will say, all of the shows I ended up watching felt very, with exception for number 2, they were all like about like white people, like rich white people. It was like, it's the same show over and over again. So if you want a little bit of a variety, You're not going to find it in my top 5 right now. Still, I felt like it was kind of a new it was interesting to watch these characters, these affluent characters, be kind of like it was like brought through not the ringer, but just kind of like the pettiness, not even the pettiness. It was the uncomfortable, like that's not what we exactly wanted.
The imperfections.
Yeah.
Like the kind of like, ugh.
It's not wrong, but it's just shy of right. And just watching them squirm in that environment.
Yeah.
It was like, it was different. It's hard. And I will say this is the critique I'll have on it. Pretty much no show that takes place in Hawaii gets it correct. It's always at the expense of the actual locals who basically live there in most TV shows as backdrop.
Yeah.
So none of these shows that take place in Hawaii, as I happened to work with some Hawaiians right after I watched the show. I was like, and did they do it right? And they went, nope.
Yeah.
I was like, is there really any show that does it right? Nah. Like it's very rare. It's very rare that it's just not, hey, here are tourists. And oh yeah, they're in the backdrop.
Yeah.
Actually, Lilo and Stitch is probably one of the best things that takes place in Hawaii.
Did one of your Hawaiian friends say that?
I don't know. I don't think they said
or
that
are you
one.
just mansplaining to us that
fuck outta
Lilo
here.
and Stitch is better? You don't know.
No, I read that in articles. Like that was one thing where I looked up. I was like, is there any show that actually displays Hawaiian culture
correctly?
Really like well? I was like, yeah, Lilo and Stitch is one of the surprising films that's like,
yeah,
just because it originally even wasn't supposed to take place in Hawaii. It was supposed to take place in like the Midwest. But
I'm glad they changed
that. They changed it just for the practicality of like, we just needed to take place in a place where he can't escape.
Oh, yeah.
So water. And then once they did that, so I think it worked because they weren't trying to make it like the big Hawaii movie. They just happened to set it in Hawaii.
And so they were like, well, let's make sure that this, like, let's get some things in order.
So, yeah, by happenstance, they actually did good research and, you know, fleshed out the lives of these characters.
Yeah.
Versus it being like the, look
how Hawaiian this is.
So anyway, but The White Lotus was it was just another of the shows. Actually, I'm pretty sure all of these shows in the top 5 we watched in like a night.
Yeah. Yeah. Everything. Let me look at my top 5 again real quick. But yeah, everything in my top 5 was watched in a day.
The White Lotus, we basically started it. You left, and I was like, I'm finishing it. I stayed up till like 5 a.m. I was like, I finished it.
That's so funny. Yeah, I had work the next day, and I was like, I can't do this again.
It was good. It was,
but I technically finished it within 24 hours because I finished it before we started it the previous day.
It was there's a voyeuristic nature to it of like, ooh, what crazy sex thing or crazy drug thing are they going to do next? Like it was just Murray Bartlett, the guy who played the manager, who was like basically where the fuck did this guy come from?
And also he's on Looking.
Yeah. So he's been around, but it's like holy shit to be acting for so long.
Yeah, no, I didn't know who he was.
Like to be doing this for so long and not really have a character to your name outside of like a small cult classic, you know, because I don't think Looking,
I didn't know about it.
It's grown over the years.
Yeah.
Like it's definitely had a big gay audience. I remember hearing about it when it was first out, but I also had only 3 seasons, I think.
I hadn't even 2, I think.
So it's
2
the audience.
A movie, I want to say.
It had a movie. So it's like to be having done this for a while, but then just now be like to have a role that good because the range on that character
he was like on one end he was the very put together manager, and then on the other end he was the opposite. And
like what a dream role! That's the type of role that you're like, holy shit, I'm so glad.
Yeah,
like it reminded me almost, and they look similar, but it reminded me of kind of like Christoph Waltz showing up in Inglourious Bastards. Been doing this for a while, acting role, and then just get this dropped in front of you. It's like, holy shit, like role of a lifetime.
Get to really play with this.
Like all my skills that I've been developing over these years to like really sink my teeth into, you know, I just thought, but basically this guy plays a like sober for 7 years manager of, a very popular Hawaiian resort.
High end.
And all of these people are coming in and they're just slowly picking at each other's nerves. It's just like watching a slow Band-Aid get peeled off. Like that's
just watching these people just slowly get under each other's skin and just tear each other apart.
And it's not the same thing as Nine Perfect Strangers, because Nine Perfect Strangers is very much like there's a conspiracy, there's like supernatural elements to it. It's like very much mysterious. White Lotus has kind of a mystery, but it's
still very straightforward.
It's very straightforward. It's more almost just like, oh, this is what most TV shows. It's almost like a commentary of like, yeah, most TV shows start in like, oh my God, I'm blanking on the very pretentious thing to say, mise en scene, when you're dropped in the middle of like, mise en scene, when you're like dropped in the middle of the story, like flash forward.
Fine. Yeah, no, because it starts out, the opening scene is there's a dead body and we don't know who it is. And we spend the entire, basically that's the mystery, spending the entire episode
but it's like mystery in air quotations. It's like, it's not the most important aspect.
It's not at all, but it is, you're kind of like, because there was...
It does keep you engaged, though.
A lot of it, I was just kind of like, oh, right, somebody's got to die. I wonder who it's going to be. Every now and then it would pop into my head and be like, oh, right, somebody's going to die at this point. And it was almost completely not necessary.
No.
Because I was invested either way.
Yeah, I think it was like, it was just the cherry on top. It wasn't the bone. It worked, but it wasn't a mystery show.
Yeah.
It was very much just watching these people unravel. But it was good to know, like, wow, this is how privileged they are. And just it's gonna end in a dead body. Not because of like, ooh, the mystery. It's just more like, how are these fuck ups gonna
fuck up?
How are they just gonna be so self-absorbed? And what is the natural like conclusion to this? And it just keeps you invested until the very end. So plus the score, that was a theme song. You kept wanting to skip it. I was like, don't you dare skip the opening theme of this.
It's long and it has a skip option. I'm sorry. I will watch every show. I watch it the first time. If I like it, I'll watch it a few more times. But after a minute, it's the same damn thing. Move on. I'm trying to get to the episode. I want to see what's happening. Just is what it is.
What's number 2 for you?
Number 2 for me is, we've talked about both of mine already. My top 2.
Oh, we have?
Because we should have waited for the peak. But my number 2 was WandaVision.
WandaVision.
I really loved that. That was a fantastic mystery show.
Yeah.
We were trying to figure out what the hell was going on in this town. And I absolutely loved the way that they decided to like progress it, where it was like, at first it started off as a very like 50s show or 40s show or whatever, where it was black and white, and then we slowly progress into the tropes of each,
they did them well too.
Each era,
Any of those episodes,
the shows,
could exist
by themselves
as like an original like Bewitched era episode. It was crazy how well they did that.
Like even like every one of their shows I would have watched. So that was really cool. Not to mention there was superpowers and magic and stuff going on behind the scenes and outside of that city, where they were all trying to get in and figure out what the hell was going on. And it was great. I know you didn't love the way it ended, because it was a very normal, it was a very classic.
That's why honestly it wasn't higher up.
Superpowers ending.
Well, just Marvel. They just do the same thing. They're like, oh, these two characters have the exact same superpower, fight each other. And it's like bland as hell. But what was so interesting is they had the two visions fighting each other. And then they went, no, hang on.
Hold on a second.
Hang on. Let's talk about this. And I love that. It's actually why I liked the ending of Loki over like the other shows. Like instead of like the normal shoot up, it was just talking.
Yeah.
And I actually find that interesting. I love philosophical debates. Like, ooh, you want to do this, but maybe you should do this. Like, I thought that was interesting.
Wait a minute. You mean the guy who has a podcast that talks about the effects of movies and TV on pop culture and our lives likes to have philosophical debates?
No.
Crazy.
No, I was basically bored with that last WandaVision episode.
Oh.
But as one episode, the rest of it was just so entertaining.
I enjoyed it in general. I wanted to see her use her powers. Like, actually, I think it was the extent of them was.
Oh, what were you gonna say? Yeah,
that was that.
I was gonna say, and we said it already, but it's like it was the best. I think out of all these shows, it was the best viewing experience that we had.
Absolutely, and I love that they started out that Disney started with WandaVision as their kind of taking us into hey, we're gonna have shows now. but it also just set the bar so high. Like, it was a good way to get us interested, but it also just set the bar so high that literally none of the other shows for me have lived up to it. Loki got the closest, and I figured it would, but it still didn't pass it. And I'm just like, I was very like, this is fantastic, and I just need more of this.
Yeah.
And I guess maybe leave everyone else alone.
It took the medium and said, this is why it has to be a show.
And it very much made sense.
And it worked so well.
Mm-hmm.
That's number 2 for you.
Number 2.
Actually, what was number 2 for me? Oh, number 2 for me was Mare of Easttown.
Mare of Easttown. Okay.
Is that your number 1?
Talk about it. No, remember it was lower for me.
Oh, yeah. I don't even remember. This episode.
Well, that's because I was like, I bumped it down because I remember liking it a lot.
Oh, that's right.
But I also
technicality.
Bumped it. I was like, nah,
get out of here.
You cheated. You don't get to be over Q-Force and White Lotus and things that I genuinely know I love.
Mare of Easttown surprised me at how much I loved it.
Same.
And because I'm not usually into like rural town, like I love mysteries. I love detective stories.
Yeah.
Rural towns make me uncomfortable. Because it's my ultimate fear.
Sorry, pop stars.
I was born in a city, and I feel like
you were destined to stay in a city.
I just feel like every time I drive through like a small town, I'm always like, oh God, what if my car like
get horror
broke
movie
down?
vibes.
Yeah, like, and it's horrible because that's my own issue and judgments. Where
I
it's
feel
just
like you need to live in a rural town for a year just to get over that.
Yeah. Well, it's part of that fear of like just the day to day of like, you know, we live in a city where it's like possibility. We still end up doing the day to day.
But it's like,
there's possibilities.
I could go to the bar.
We're in the city where everyone comes to.
Yeah.
You know,
like I could go to the beach if I wanted to.
I'm not going to. I'm still not going to do anything.
Yeah.
But it really captivated. I felt like it did. And correct me if I'm wrong, because I know there are some people who said like, oh, was it accurate? Was it not? I don't know. Let us know in the comments. But it felt very accurate to that town. Like, it's a fake town, but it still felt very accurate to that
to
part
a
of
small town mentality.
Like,
or like
Boston?
I don't remember.
Place in Boston?
I don't remember.
We watched it like half a year ago. I don't remember.
Have no concept of time.
Okay. But the cast of characters were really fascinating to watch. Jean Smart, I've loved her since I saw her in a small movie called The Kid with Bruce Willis. She's the anchor.
Was that a small movie?
I mean, nobody remembers it.
I was about to say, it almost felt like you were doing that facetiously, where you were like this little small movie called The Titanic.
No, well, no one actually remembers The Kid. If you remember The Kid, put that in the comments, because I love that movie.
Which kid?
But Kate Winslet, of course, was
from a little small movie called Titanic.
She's always been one of my favorite actresses because the craft is there, and you can see how intent, like how much effort she puts into it, and she holds herself with such class and with such like, she's just like all over the board. It's like either classy or intense or intelligent, but never pretentious.
And she's very much, she's her character.
But I'm even just talking about like
her herself. Yeah,
she's one of those actresses where I can buy in any role that she does because the pretension is never there. Whereas there's just some actors where they're like
Jared Leto. Is that where you were gonna go?
I wasn't gonna say Jared Leto, but there's other actors where it's like, okay, like I see the effort you're putting in here, but you still like this famous actor. And it's like I can see the Hollywood on you.
Yeah.
And I never see the Hollywood on Kate Winslet.
She disappears into her roles, but she's also British. So she's not in Hollywood.
Like, honestly, Meryl Streep's one of those actors where it's like, she's amazing technically, but like, I always just kind of see like the acting there.
The Hollywood.
I don't know. It's like it's and even her. That's a bad example because there are some actors where they're like, oh, look at this down. And I'm blanking right now, but I know I saw a movie where like, look at this downtrodden person. I'm like, that's that freaking actor. Like, you know, that's a really famous person. Like with a little bit of bad makeup on,
a little bit of dirt on their face.
But Kate Winslet is she just disappears into it.
Yeah, she definitely. I fully believed her as this character,
and I was surprised you liked it.
Yeah, well, yeah, which is why I cranked it down on my list. I was like, "Nice try, bitch."
The ending was, did you guess that ending? Did you see that coming? Do you remember?
No.
Oh my God!
I'm saying
spoiler alert. Spoiler alert.
I think that's why.
Spoiler alert.
There you go. Hit the 10-second ahead. Now say it real quick.
Okay, the kid. It was the kid who did it. At the end of the day.
Okay.
He accidentally shot the girl because she was sleeping with his like father or his uncle.
I honestly
don't remember.
don't even remember who
Wow.
got killed or why.
Wow.
I just remember watching it. No, I don't think I called that one. But
No.
I do just remember like I was very invested in the mystery and I kept wanting to keep going. Like there was no point where I was, because it was like a bright, beautiful day outside when we were watching it. And I had like, I mean, not that that's a general thing where I'm like, oh, I have to be outside. But like, I was like, hey, like we could have easily like gone to go get food or like taken Sunny to the dog park.
Could have gone to the beach.
Not going to the beach. I don't like the beach that much. Sorry.
Wow.
But yeah, like I just remember being very invested in it and very starting to like the characters and kind of feel everything that was going on. So that
I liked
it was good.
I like the relationship. I like where it ended too. Like it's hard when you're dealing with a character who's lost someone to suicide. I felt like they dealt with it very tastefully and very realistically. Like it's not the type of thing that movie magic. Oh, you know what? I learned a lesson because of this character's suicide. Like no, it's very much a thing that's going to haunt you forever. And I think they did a very good job at that. So that was number 2.
Strong.
What is your number 1? Wait. Before you say it, is there anything we need to say to the pop stars? Are we?
Thank you guys for watching. Honorable mention, the new season of Queer Eye just came out.
Oh yeah,
at the end of December. So that's technically a 2021. I literally just thought of it now because we were talking about how all of our top 5 we've watched in a day.
Yeah,
and I was like, I feel like there's something that I just stopped because I got to the end of it and I needed it to last longer.
Right.
And I'm waiting to watch the last 2 episodes.
It's a great show.
It's Queer Eye. So obviously love that. I've been watching that, but I put it on pause because I don't want it to be done yet.
No, I get that. Yeah, I have no honorable mention.
Okay.
I have no clue what your number 1 is.
I feel like you should know it.
What have you not mentioned? We've talked about so much.
I said both of my tops have been mentioned.
I know. Was it? No.
Oh, what have I not mentioned on my list? I see what you're saying.
I know. I don't remember.
Okay. Well, this is kind of quiet. So
I'm gonna just say it.
Sex Lives of College Girls.
Oh,
that is absolutely.
Oh, that was number 1?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We should have waited because both of my top 2 were already said.
I'm sorry.
But I was
We need to figure out a better way to do these.
Excited. No, this was good. We just need to do it at the peaks. Not when we first mentioned them, but be like, it's higher on my list, so move on.
Oh, okay.
That's what we should do. But I was also excited when you said it. I was like, this show.
You thought it was gonna be my number 1 though?
I thought we both agreed on it.
We do.
We both really liked.
I just liked other shows above it.
No, that's fine. I just thought maybe it was both of our favorite. I know what your number 1 is.
I mean,
you've been talking about it all week.
Don't roll your eyes at me. Don't roll your eyes at me.
I'm not rolling my. Anyways, I really love
annoying.
Sex Lives of College Girls. I watched it 3 times all the way through.
That's insane.
I'm still gonna throw it on every now and then. It's just. I don't know. I like all of them. I want to be friends.
I know.
Literally,
for sure want to be friends
every
with
single
them.
one of them. The mean bitchy character at the beginning that I was like, she's awful and annoying.
Right.
Had the best redemption arc, honestly, for
She
me.
did.
I feel like she really and not flipped a 180 because she still has work to do, but she really came back and made herself a human being and kind of realized very realistically hey, my old friends didn't like me because I'm kind of awful and I hide things and maybe and then her brother, she was like, this is the worst, and he was like, hey, maybe try to be a good person to your roommates because you don't have anything else right now. And she was like, yeah, maybe I should try to do that. And she really did, and she leaned into that, and she's still who she is. You can still see everything that makes her but she also is just also working on being a better person. And she was my favorite character. I enjoyed her because I would want to hang out with her. And also every other character is great. But in general, yes, I am super, super ready for season 2. Y'all,
for sure.
Y'all, at Mindy Kaling and tell her to throw me in season 2.
Yeah, come on. Get us
I'm
in there.
down for it.
Or get Benji in there. Get one of us in there, but mostly Benji. Don't get me in there over Benji. Can you be less displeased with my number 1?
It's not that I'm displeased. It's just that I'm disappointed that we didn't have the same number one.
When are we ever at the same number one of anything?
I just thought maybe when I was making my list, I was like, you know what? I think we agreed on a lot of shows this year.
We did.
And so maybe.
We did. Maybe. Our top 10s were basically more or less the same. We both got Q-Force in there.
This one is the one I watched 10 minutes of this morning and was like, I was like, I can't do this right now. I'm going to give it 2 or 3 episodes. I don't see myself finishing it.
I don't think you would hate it.
I don't think I would, which is why I'm going to give it 3 episodes because you were so insistent that you liked it. But I don't see myself really loving it.
But it's got all the it's Succession, guys. It's Succession.
I was like, what is it?
It's Succession. All right, look, I joined the hype train. I didn't mean to. All right, here's what ended up happening.
What happened?
All right, long story short,
what happened?
What had happened was there was the I think it was the New York Times article that came out about Jeremy Strong, who plays Kendall, and he's like an intense method actor, and so there was an article that came out about him that basically said like, it's called Jeremy Strong doesn't get the joke. And it's basically more or less like, maybe he's a little too intense. And then like a bunch of other people came out in his defense like, yo, like lighten up. Yeah. You know, he does it this way. We don't always have to harp on people who are method actors. From what I read, none of his method acting was intrusive.
I was about to say.
It was weird. Like, because you had the Culkin, Kieran Culkin has a very much like, fuck it, I'm going to do this how I want to do it.
Yeah.
Versus like his brother who has it very much like Jeremy Strong, he does his acting a little bit more stiff and intense and like very method acting. And so like they'll technically clash because it's like, oh, the way he rehearses is different than the way I rehearse. But it's like, all right, that's like, it's not as intrusive as like some of the shit. It's not Jared Leto.
I was about
all
to
right,
say,
it's not Jared Leto.
There it is. I knew it was coming.
Get out of here, Jared Leto, with your anal beads and your rats that you're sending to people.
Yeah.
That's not method acting. You're the Joker. All right, calm that shit down. This is going to be thrown back in my face when I'm auditioning for a Jared Leto movie.
He's going to be like, hey, I just wanted to show you something really quick.
He's going to, Jared Leto. He's literally going to get me through the entire process. I'm going to sit in a room and it's going to be Jared Leto and the producer of a film. He's going to be like, yeah, we're really interested in you. But before we offer you this part, we just want to show you something. And then he's just going to dead face push play.
And it's going to be a compilation.
And just look at me and then go, what are your thoughts, Josiah Rizzo?
And then
I will politely leave.
Get up and walk
I will politely
out.
be like, thank you for your time. Glad to have been considered for this role. And then I will leave. And then Jared Leto will never hire me in any of his films.
That's not true. I'm sure he needs somebody that calls out his bullshit because everybody else is a yes man.
Highly doubt it, but sure. Forget Jared Leto. We're talking about Succession here.
Succession.
So I read this article like a few days before Christmas, and I'm like, whatever. And I'm not like, it's not that I'm not about hype, but I was like, I can't watch another show about rich white people just stomping around,
buying up everything.
Buying it. And it's not like I'm against white people. It's just like, we've seen these shows technically on paper. We've seen this show before. And I wasn't interested in it. I wasn't interested in when it was called Billions. I'm not interested in when it's called Succession. So I was like, whatever. And then I got sick right before Christmas, and I was sleeping alone in my apartment on Christmas Eve, and I was like, I wasn't sure if I had COVID, and I was waiting for a test to come back. I was just like, I need to watch something. I guess I'll give Succession 1 episode. And then 2 to 3 seasons later, I basically finished it in like 2 days.
Oh, there's 3 seasons?
There's 3 seasons.
Oh, I'm not watching all that.
It's going to go to either 4 or 5, they said.
I will give it the first 3 episodes, but
it's addictive, man.
I don't think it's going to get me. I was watching it this morning while I was like kind of texting you and like doing other things, and I was like, I'm not paying attention to this, and it's going to make it even harder to get into, and I already know it's going to be hard for me to get into.
It's not that hard to get it. And here's the thing. But it's also a style of show that I don't know if you've ever really watched before. You've never watched Veep. You didn't watch there's like one other show, but it's very much like I find that kind of chaotic energy interesting.
Yeah, and that's again why I'm like, I'm sure it was great for you. I doubt that I'll like it, even if it's fantastic.
Matthew McFadden, who was what is his name from Pride and Prejudice? Mr. Darcy. Wow, I can't believe I just forgot. So Matthew McFadden, who plays Tom. Wow, because you didn't watch the full episode.
No.
God, I can't talk this. Now I'm that person. I'm the person. I am that person that was raving about Breaking Bad when Breaking Bad was big. I'm that person who was raving about Game of Thrones when Game of Thrones was big. I'm just that person now. And it got me. They got me. All right? I will admit it.
That's good.
For those of you who like to go against the grain, I'm sorry. I'm going to be the person who recommends Succession to you.
And you know what's funny is I'm going to be the you person that refuses to watch it off principle. You know, I thought I'd give it 3 episodes, but now just to piss you off, just like you did with Game of Thrones. I'm gonna come in one day when you're watching season 5 and be like, yeah, no, this isn't just anything I would ever be into. Yeah, no, I don't know why they did that. Yeah, this is just not my genre. And then when somebody asks, I'm gonna be like, oh yeah, I watched Succession.
I hate
with
you.
my 2 episodes.
I hate you. You're the worst.
Yes, I am the worst.
You are the worst.
Doing exactly Rizzo.
You're doing exactly Rizzo?
Yeah. Okay, go ahead and talk about your show.
No, that was it. That was all I had to say. It was just, it's addictive. It's, I will say the weird thing about it, like it's apparently about a media mogul family. So it's like the people who basically own like Fox News or stuff like that. There's a lot of times I'm like, they rarely like, it's got to be like a specific choice. They rarely ever show the actual products of what they're doing. Like compare it to like the Righteous Gemstones, which is one of my all-time favorite shows, but it got released. The new season's coming out this year, 2022. So I'm not going to talk about it.
Okay.
But like the Righteous Gemstones takes place in the mega church world. So it's like, it's about a rich family, you know, squabbling about who's going to be in charge. But you actually get to see the environment with which that they exist in.
Yeah.
This one, Succession, almost strictly is just the boardroom meetings, which in theory, it's like, that would be boring.
And that sounds awful.
And I can't explain why it's addictive, but just watching these people backstab and one-up each other, there's not a single piece of dialogue that's ever genuine until it is. And I think that works. So I was starting to notice, I'm like, it was kind of exhausting watching it because it's not it was not made to be binged. Like it is actually a show that airs weekly. So and shows that air weekly that are not meant to be binged, like you have to process them a little more. As I'm watching it, it's like everything that everyone says, it's so exhausting because you can never trust what they're saying. It's all a game. It's all a ploy. It's all like all for something.
That's your version of Game of Thrones.
So it's like on one end, it's exhausting because it's like you can never really like rest in a character. You're kind of like, what's the play here? But when there are moments when like the characters break down, like genuinely break down, and they actually say something that it's like, holy shit, there was no double meaning for that. That was just straight up what they're going through. And like you can see like the other characters around them be like, ew, oh, that's uncomfortable.
He was speaking truthfully. What is that?
And it's like, so it's like you have these moments where these characters break down because of something that's like been weighing on them.
Yeah.
And it hits so much harder. And I think it works because the show exists solely in the business side of it, but not even like the pleasure of the business side. It's like, because there's not a lot of sex scenes in it. It's like you see like one, it's very much just them talking, just them dealing with the basics of what's happening. Somehow it's fascinating. Shut up. You can't see it, but he fell asleep. So it's like it's like you're not watching them like have these like epic sex parties. You're not watching it, like you see it, it's kind of there.
It's interspersed a little bit.
But it's almost like look how miserable this is, because it's like they have all the money, but you never really see them like actually enjoy it.
Yeah, because that's the whole thing, is people like that.
It's just nonstop.
I don't know, but it's nonstop for them, right?
Yeah, it's like nonstop business.
Supposedly.
And somehow it's addictive. Yeah, and that's all I'll say. But
that's
it's also the second.
I'm sure it's addictive for them too.
It's also the second show on this list that has a character named Siobhan.
Really, Siobhan.
Both. They're both the same.
Is it spelled?
They're both spelled the same way.
Okay, so it's probably Siobhan.
It's spelled
because if it's spelled
Siobhan.
Yeah, that's Siobhan.
Yeah, Siobhan. However, there are 2 shows on this list. The other one was Mare of Easttown. Her daughter was Siobhan.
Ah, yeah.
How?
Siobhan.
Is that a common name? Is it HBO?
In Ireland, it is.
Oh, it is.
That's Irish. Yeah,
okay.
I'm pretty sure it's something like
Scottish.
that.
The characters are Scottish.
Yeah, it's like they're gonna yell at me, but yeah, I had a friend. Yeah, I had a friend in college because I was on the cheerleading team who was from Ireland, and her name was Neve, and it was spelled. I'm spelling this wrong, but it was something along the lines of Niamh. No, Naimah or something like that, because I remember it was Naima, is how it was spelled, and her name was Neve. And I had no problem calling her Neve because she was like, it's Neve. And I was like, Neve. And then when I finally got her number and I was like, oh, how do I spell your name to save it on your phone? And she spelled it, and then I could never get her name right after that because half the time I was looking at it and it was Naima. And the other half of the time I was trying to say it and I was like, Neve.
Neve.
Like, I don't. So yeah, Irish spellings are a lot of fun. I wonder if she's actually still
Benji.
in my contacts.
Benji, how long do you think this episode was?
2 hours tight.
2 hours tight. We've got 2 minutes left. So that was our tops and bottoms. Hey, wait, pay attention. Come on. It's the last.
I'm seeing if I still have her number. It doesn't look like it.
All right. Well, we're wrapping it up, Benji.
Go wrap it up.
Wrapping it up. So obviously those are our tops. I'm sure there's a lot you disagree with. A lot of shows we didn't watch. I know you guys recommended a lot of TV shows to us.
Well, clearly we're watching a lot, so we don't always have time because we both work full time. So this is what we got through this year. Hopefully we'll get through a little more of these next year and a little more of the shows of this year.
Yeah, exactly.
Year. Wait,
that was very confusing.
Whatever, you got what I was saying.
If you enjoyed this, first off, leave a comment. Let us know what you disagree with because we want to know.
Let us know what you agree with because that's more fun.
It's more fun to see disagreement.
I don't know.
Give us your top 5, top 10, whatever it was. Best TV shows, worst TV shows, most overrated TV shows.
And y'all interact with each other.
Because honestly, you're probably like,
each other stuff.
Succession's so overrated. It's just a bunch of talking, blah, 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 blah. You know what? You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications.
Check out Patreon, which... You might already be there. No, you're not, right?
No, these are.
This is on the channel.
This is on the channel. Anything else, Benji, before we wrap up this tight 2-hour episode?
That's about it. How long do we have? Are we going to end it like a New Year's countdown?
No, because I don't know. I don't know how much I'm cutting out at the beginning. So
yeah, that's true. That's true.
Thank you all for listening. And next Wednesday, next episode, I'm super excited because tomorrow we're seeing Scream. 2022 Scream. So I think we'll talk about not only Scream and
I'm caught up now, so I've seen all of the Screams now.
You've screamed them all. Yeah.
I've screamed my way through everything.
I'm so excited because then we can actually do a countdown of our favorites on next week's episode. So tune in for that. That'll be the Scream franchise, more or less. We're
excited about that, and check out the obviously reactions that are coming.
Oh yeah,
up.
what's coming up? Is it
High
School Musical? Oh, it's High School Musical 3 is coming up this week.
Okay.
So
I was like, I don't know, because these are all out of order.
Anyway, until next time, I'm Rizzo.
I'm Benji.
Sweet dreams, pop stars.
This was a tight 2 hours. Keep watching.
Okay.